In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice. And fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics. And we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet. And we ain't gonna be scared. And we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics. And it ain't about left or right. It ain't about Dem or Republican. It's about right and wrong. It's about us versus them. This is Blood Politics. And we gonna do what we gotta do.
All right, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the night edition, the nightly episode of Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. Hit the like button on the way in. How's everybody doing? What's up, Wes? What's going on, SFL? What's up, Gamer? What's going on, guys? What's up, Yokov? Why did I say Yokov? I'm not sure. What's up, Yakov? What's going on, brother? What's up, Deb? How are you? What's up, Etch? What's up, peeps on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram? All of you guys, what's going on? Filter in. Welcome one, welcome all. What's up, Evie's aunt? What's going on? What's up, moms? How are you? What's up, Susie? Lee Ron, what's going on, my brother? How are you? Appreciate you for being here. Jabbin' Dragons, what's going on? Rockstar, how are you? Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in, as you always do. What's up, Nola? What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you guys. What's up, Tiff? Thank you, as always. Sorry that I put the wrong time up there to begin with. My bad. I just didn't. I was too worried about something else, I guess. I'm not sure. What's up, Luck Dragon? How are you? Appreciate it. What's going on with everybody? How we doing this evening? How we feeling? Everybody having a good day? Huh? How we looking? Feeling alive? Feeling good? Feeling great? Hit that like button if you're feeling great. And even if you're not, hit that like button. Maybe it'll make you feel better. What's going on? What's up, Dame? How are you? Appreciate you guys. What's going on, mistress? Sounds weird, but that's the name that I'm saying hi to. I appreciate it. What's going on? From San Fran. What's going on? From across the country. Hey, Carol, how are you? All right, what do you say? We got a lot to talk about this evening, most of which is going to be pertaining to Donald Trump and the ongoing danger and now posed by his, military buildup, surrounding Iran, threatening Iran, whatever you want to call it. But we got enough military assets in the area to start a pretty large-scale war. Even more than we did outside of Venezuela, but in the Middle East itself, we're going to be covering a lot of the ongoing articles and a lot of the ongoing talks surrounding what could possibly be kicking off in not too long, and what the Israelis are saying about it, how they know what they're saying about it. We got a lot to dive into, though. What's going on, guys? Yep, filter in. Welcome one. What's up, Nicole? How are you? What's going on, Twig? Make sure you guys hit that like button. All right, let me throw these guys on the screen for you. That way you guys can understand what the hell we're talking about today. We got a ton of them. First, we're going to start off with a couple bangers here. First one's going to be from from this asshole, Nick Fuentes, who's making the rounds on social media once again for telling Trump to fuck off, for telling MAGA to fuck off, and basically telling everybody on the right not to vote, which, again, I'm all for. You didn't hear it come from me. Coming from Nick Fuentes, but Nick Fuentes going pretty much scorched earth on MAGA, as it would seem. But we've kind of seen this coming here on Blunt Politics, right? Like, we've seen that, you can see the blue hat that's sitting next to him that says America First. Like, he's trying to create this whole opposition party while still being on the right, but being even further to the right to MAGA. So instead of the red hat and make America great again, he's got the blue hat, America First. So he's trying to steal all of the people that, don't agree with and are pissed off with Trump about, the promises that he's broken, what he's been doing with the economy, the lies about wars, whatever it is that they're pissed off about, the Epstein files, the Charlie Kirk investigation, you name it. All of them are pissed off, but I want to dive into a little bit of what Fuentes has to say. Hopefully that a couple maggots are watching. Maybe they get the picture, they get the idea, and they take some of Nick Fuentes' instructions on not voting. And then this might be one of Kyle Shitby's best videos yet. It really might be one of his best videos yet, because this is him trying to break down what he's calling the real answers about the Epstein files and talking about how it gets scary. And you'd be like, holy shit. Like, is he finally flipping on Trump? Is he finally coming to the realization that Donald Trump, the man that he has been kissing the boot of for so many years and has voted for so many times and is directly responsible for doing his propaganda for all these years? Like, that guy's lying to him and was directly involved in the, the sex and the crimes and the financial crimes, all of it. Is he finally coming to terms with it? Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. And then this is what we didn't get to earlier this morning on the earlier show. Trump a little bit in a panic over what Iran may or may not know from their earlier hacks into Donald Trump's, what I like to call, mainframe. But, what did they get out of it? Did they get some of these, compromising photos, compromising information? Did they get some of the Epstein files with Trump's name in them? We're not sure, but a couple of the tweets that have been put out by Iranian officials have kind of made people think twice about it. But who knows if they're bluffing or not. We'll go through, I think Midas Touch and Ben talk about it a little bit. And then we'll dive into a few different articles about Trump moving closer to war with Iran. And not only war, but it's just, as Axios reports here, a major war with Iran. So there's a few parts in here I want to talk about. We got a few tweets I want to show you about, the different and all of the military personnel that is in the area. It's pretty substantial. Again, even above and beyond what we were talking about outside of Venezuela. So we get a bunch of different things to look at, the tankers and where they're going. This one, we got a couple articles here from the Times of Israel. Major weeks-long U.S.-Israel operation against Iran could be imminent. All right, and then we have to dive into a little bit of a few of these other articles. Here's Israel Hayom. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but this is depicting basically the assets in the area once it reloads and once it pops up. So we'll be able to see kind of who's where and what's where as far as that's concerned. And then I want to dive into a couple of these strange and weird, I think this is from 4chan, and we'll go through what it says and if this is correct and what this will mean and kind of what the outcome may be. But yeah, we'll be diving into that as well. And then Preston Stewart also has a video talking about the possibility with war and Iran, calling it the largest deployment in decades, suggests war is near. And then to finish it out tonight, if we have some time, I want to take a look at this military show. We'll look at Ukraine strikes back, what's theirs, Russia forced into humiliating, I don't know what humiliating means, but humiliating is the word I was looking for, war-ending retreats. I don't know if I would go that far, but we are seeing on multiple different fronts here, the Ukrainians try and basically strike back and take back territory. So again, if we have time, I'd like to dive into that. But again, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I would very much appreciate it if you could do that so everybody would kind of see that we're going live. I don't know if everybody's asleep or have passed away or what the hell is going on, but I don't know. Is everybody out there? Knock, knock. Hello? Anybody? You guys there? Everybody's there? Not everybody, but some people are there. I can tell you that much. Yeah, Jim. They at least recently, absolutely. It's been pretty hard to deny the recent successes. And of course, taking into account all of the things going around behind the scenes, such as the loss of Starlink, what's going on with them trying to take away the use of Telegram as far as on the Russian side. So all of it kind of lined up, but it's looking more and more from what I've seen reported that Ukraine has been kind of planning this for quite some time, and this isn't just kind of a snap of the fingers kind of reaction to the Starlink, the loss of Starlink, and the Telegram issue that the Russians are facing. So I think it just may be some favorable timing. Who knows why, if they just linked up and they got lucky, or again if it was part of the broader plan to have Starlink go out at the same time that they kind of launched these different offensives in these areas. But all right, let's dive into the first clip I wanted to take a look at, because boy oh boy do I hope that there are some maggots watching this show tonight. I really fucking do. I hope there's at least a couple, one, maybe two. I'd hope for 3 or 4 Republicans, conservatives, people that just dive in, dip their toe in the water a little bit, don't necessarily put a chat in the chat, don't necessarily let people know that they're watching, but I have to assume that there's at least 1, 2, 3, hopefully 4 hopefully 4 Republicans that watch this and take what Nick is saying to heart. Okay. I really want them to pay attention to what Nick is saying. Again, Democrats, you can tune out and we'll just laugh at this, right? But no, Republicans take this seriously. You got to take what he's saying to heart and listen to what he's saying. Again, let's take some of Nick Fuentes. Listen to what he's saying about Donald Trump and MAGA at this point. Again, the same guy that said Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a bad guy. So we're going to take this, obviously, with the biggest grain of salt you could possibly. But again, this is more to laugh at the state of the Republican Party. The same guy that not that long ago would have been more than happy to do Donald Trump's bidding, more than happy to propagandize all of the information and misinform his audience, for the betterment of Donald Trump. But this is where the state of the Republican Party is at right now, heading into midterm. So check this out.
My message in 26, you could take it or leave it. Don't vote. Don't vote. Do not vote in the midterms. The Republicans have to lose. They
Agreed.
have to.
Agreed. So far, we're in agreement. So far, from all the words that he said up to this point, we're in agreement. If you're a Republican, it doesn't make sense. You shouldn't even. You guys deserve to lose. Listen to Nick. You guys deserve to lose. And I'm sure he's going to go on and list all the reasons why you guys deserve to lose. But you're better off just staying home. And this is, again, just me reciting what Nick is saying, not me in any way instructing any Republican to stay home and not vote this midterm election at all. But he goes on.
Lose. They have to crash and burn. A cleansing fire is the only thing that will save us. It cannot be fixed. Fuck them. Fuck Trump. Fuck MAGA. Fuck all this stuff. It can't be fixed.
Agreed. Totally 100% agreed. You got my stamp of approval. I second that. No fucking notes. No notes on anything so far. Thus far from this again, 4'2", weak, like fucking unable to defend himself, just weak, pathetic little fucking beta man. From what he's saying so far, I agree. Totally 100% stamp of approval. Fuck MAGA. Fuck Trump. It needs to burn. Fuck the Republican Party. And again, if you're a Republican, what Nick is telling you, you just shouldn't even show up to the polls. It's not even worth it at this point. Not even worth it.
If it could have been fixed, it would have been fixed in 2025, but it wasn't. They made every mistake.
They did.
Liberation Day, disaster.
Yep.
Doge, disaster.
Disastrous.
Big Beautiful Bill, disaster.
Awful.
Epstein files, disaster.
Fucking
Iran,
cover up.
disaster.
Disaster.
The personnel, Mike Waltz, disaster.
Terrible.
Ratcliffe, disaster.
Terrible.
Rubio, disaster.
Awful.
Pam Bondi, disaster.
Shooter.
All
fire.
self-inflicted. Trump personnel, Trump policy, Trump strategy, Trump playbook. We tried it your way. It didn't work. Fuck you.
Now awesome. Let's go. No, Susie, no. Like I said, you got to take this with a huge grain of salt. Like, this is him clearly trying to establish that he is the opposition. Like, he's the clear alternative to Donald Trump. Like, people that are now leaving MAGA, people that are now actively, again, pissed off at some of the things that he's mentioned. We always talk about, again, Israel. We always talk about Charlie Kirk, and we always talk about the Epstein files, right? With affordability kind of creeping in there. You can talk about more and more as far as the lies he told the American public on getting the cost of living down. That more and more is becoming a problem in the base as well. But what Nick Fuentes is trying to do is clearly establish himself. Again, look at the blue hat. Look at the blue hat. This is like, okay, I'm on the other team. Like, how MAGA clearly looks at politics as a team sport, a team game. Like, in anything that's good for my side, anything that's good for my team, even if it fucking hurts the other team, even if it's illegal, even if you shouldn't be doing it, like, we're going to cheer for it. Like that time of what James O'Brien loves to call the footballification of politics, right? So basically, if somebody is wearing my jersey, I must defend them, regardless if I don't even if I don't agree with their actions, right? Even if I don't agree with how they approach that play on the pitch, or how they approach that situation at the bar or the restaurant. Like, even if I don't agree with them, I have to defend them. I have to stick up for them. Right? As long as they're going against somebody on the Democrats, somebody with a blue jersey, if I'm wearing a red jersey, right? Even if they went and they tackled them, it was a slide tackle from behind and it should have called for a fucking yellow or a red card. I'm trying to use I'm trying to continue the footballification aspect here, if you can catch my drift. But, any one of these situations you could look at where it's basically, as long as you're attacking the other team, I don't care if it's beyond the realm of what I would do or say. If I think it's egregious, if I think it's nasty, I'm going to support it. I'm going to clap for it, or I'm just going to turn my head and go the other way because it's about and it's against the team that I hate. right? So that's what's going on. He's clearly trying to establish himself as this opposition side of the MAGA unit, of the conservative fucking of the conservative party, so that when people inevitably are flocking away from Donald Trump, they have somewhere to pick up. They have somewhere to go, right? And again, as we continue to say, these fucking places, like, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse as we get down the line. So from Nick Fuentes, once that burns out, it's going to be somebody even fucking sicker in the head, right? Somebody even more bigoted and racist, right? Somebody even probably, a little bit better in within the media space. Somebody that's a little bit easier to get along, but just even more crazy than Nick Fuentes, because it's going to be like that light bulb. It's going to be like the star moment, right? The brightest point of the light when it is just before it burns out, the brightest part of the stars just before it burns out. Like, that's what's going to happen. We're going to get the craziest of the crazies going down the line as it goes from Donald Trump to Nick Fuentes to whoever's next. I don't know, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson. I don't know who's going to pick up the reins next. But you can be sure that it's going to be even further to the right. It's going to be even further and worse than Donald Trump as it continues, until it's finally, we chop the head off the snake, until it's finally done and through, and we actually get a political party that's willing to work for the betterment of the American people. Because right now we don't have that. But yeah, I think he goes on even further here.
Don't vote. That's the message.
Oh, Carol, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You guys are really amazing. And I unfortunately should probably spend a little bit more time on the self-promotional side of this, as much as it sucks, as much as I hate to do it, because honestly, in the situation here, if we continue like this, I don't know how long we're going to be able to keep the lights on, right? So at some point, this has to be able to sustain at least the food in my belly. So, if you're in the financial position to do so, there's a Venmo up in the corner. All I ask for is $1 or $2. I don't sell you anything. There's no ads. There's no, products that I'm trying to sell you behind the scenes. I don't have any links or codes or anything like that you can use to get 10% off of anything. I basically just ask if you find some value, some entertainment, if you find some, the ability to kill some time while you're in the chat, while the show is on, throw $1 or $2 my way, buy me a Powerade, whatever it may be, sign up for a YouTube membership, check out patreon.com, throw a super chat in the old chatski there. Whatever you can do, it goes a long way in helping. And I really do appreciate it. I know I suck at kind of bringing that stuff up, and I don't like doing it, even when I do remember to do it. But again, it's a necessary evil of this, of the career choice here. And again, I apologize, but you guys chose to listen. So you guys are the ones that I have to ask. But Carol, thank you so much for the 10 gifted. Make sure we're reaching out to Carol and thanking them for the 10 gifted memberships for the people. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Hallonians. What's up, Hallonians and Sparklers? Appreciate you guys. Welcome in, one and all. Hit that like button on the way in. Maybe it'll tell YouTube a few more people that I am live and to come over here and check out what's going on. Right now, we're just kind of laughing at Nick Fuentes, absolutely shredding Donald Trump. Right back at you, Mike. Appreciate you. Heroyam Slava. Appreciate the 2. Thank you so much. You too can contribute just like Bicycle Mike there. All you got to do is throw in $1 or $2, and I promise I read the chats out at the end of the show, so stick around to the end of the show. Same thing with gifted memberships. If you hit a milestone in your membership as well, you get a free chat on there. We read them out at the end of the show, so please stick around. Appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. I hope you hit that like button on the way and subscribe to the channel. If you're not, we're on our way to 20,000 subscribers, and it's only with your help. But yes, like I said, thank you, Mark C. Appreciate you, bro. You're redefining what patriotism means, Brian. Thank you. Well, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you. I'm not very good at taking words of appreciation that well, compliments very well. So I wouldn't really go that far if I was to say so myself, but I do appreciate the kind words. And, if I'm making even the smallest bit of difference, then hopefully I'm doing my part. What's up, Heidi on Facebook? I see you over there. Thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Please make sure you hit that like button. What's going on, one and all? Appreciate you for joining me. Thank you, Star Fox, Starfish, 48484. Appreciate you. Tough forgetting that one. What's up, Jenny Faye? Good to see you. All right, let's dive back into a little bit of Nick Fuentes here, shredding MAGA and shredding Donald Trump apart. Again, only to replace Donald Trump. That's what we got to remember. As much as we bring up people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as much as we bring up, stuff that Nick Fuentes is saying, and Nate on Valhalla, right? All these people, Sean Ryan, all of these people that are directly responsible for Donald Trump, being in the position that he's in and the bullshit that we're dealing with right now. Like, we're bringing the statements up of them doing the 180, but we are not forgiving them. We're not forgetting, and we're definitely not, replacing what they're saying now with anything that they've said in the past, or anything that they've said in the past with anything they're saying now. Basically, we're using this against MAGA. Right. That's the only basis for using these type of clips. Right. This isn't to commend fucking Nick Fuentes. Obviously, this is basically to show MAGA how fucked they are. Right. This is to show the Republicans just how fucking fractured and broken the conservative movement is right now. That's why we use these type of clips, in case anybody's wondering.
Seriously. Can't blame anybody else. Bad advice, bad advisors, Biden's economy. Enough already. It didn't work. We're not voting. I'm staying home, and you know what? I hope the Democrats impeach him. I hope the Democrats impeach all of them.
Fucking hell. He hopes the Democrats impeach Donald Trump. He wants him to get smoked in the midterms, right? And again, this is all will benefit Nick Fuentes in the end of it, right? That'll just make his position stronger in the end of it. He's not really worried about who wins the next election. He's worried about how many people are watching his live stream. And again, as shitty as this kid is, as much as of a prick and a racist, bigoted, homophobic piece of shit this kid is, he still has a good chunk of people watching his show. You know what I mean? It might not be a huge amount, but again, if he can get even the smallest amount, knowing the margins, well, not so much this midterms, but normally knowing the margins that the Republicans have to hold on to, by the skin of their teeth, that could seriously affect one population, one election, or here and there, even further. You know what I mean? So it's not like he doesn't have anybody watching his show and he's just kind of pissing into the wind. He does have people watching this. So he is, again, could be effective in telling people not to go out there and vote, which could have a huge impact, not a huge impact, but which could have an impact on the election.
I hope they indict everybody. I hope they depose and compel the release of documents. And I hope they find all the criminal behavior. And I hope it destroys the GOP. I hope it creates a crisis for the GOP so severe that they never recover.
And again, that will only go to benefit and serve Nick Fuentes, because he's never fully been accepted or really accepted by any right or part of the imagination by the GOP. By at least the mainstream of the GOP. Like, he tried earlier this year, like as we were covering, to make his rounds on Piers Morgan. He tried to do, different mainstream podcasts that he hadn't done ever or done in a long, long time. And he tried to kind of tone down his rhetoric, and he tried to, make it seem like he was a lot more charitable. And, some of the stuff that he says on his podcast and live stream, that's just kind of for the audience, don't really believe it. And then he kind of realized very quickly that, by the questions that he was getting asked by Piers Morgan, the questions that he was getting asked or not asked by other people, or the backlash that he was getting from his own audience from the answers that he was given, it was a lot different than what he was saying on the live stream. Like, you could tell he was trying to, mainstream himself up to get liked and to get more favor with the people that he always says he hates. Right. And the audience always listens to him say that he hates. So now they're like, well, what the fuck do you care about being on Piers Morgan's show? Why do you want to be on with Megyn Kelly or whoever the fuck? Like, you hate these people. So that's why he quickly realized that they weren't ever going to accept him into the mainstream of the GOP. And he kind of really swiftly went to, okay, instead of trying to tone down my rhetoric, let's just fucking let it fly. Let's go back to the I love Hitler bullshit. Let's go back to the Jews are to blame and all of this fucking egregious rhetoric, even as far as to, defend Jeffrey Epstein. Right. So that's kind of how far he's taken this. So he's really sticking his thumb out there. He's really going out there as the opposition, like the worst of the worst. If you're sick of how, Donald Trump isn't racist enough anymore or bigoted enough anymore, like, this is the person for you. Like, he's willing to go where Donald Trump wouldn't go. Like, he's willing to go where the GOP won't go. Like, that's his kind of shtick on this. So he has basically the most to gain from the situation. But again, not to say that we can't use this for, our political benefit to say, hey, look, MAGA, remember when you guys were all like one big fucking happy cult now? Yeah, what the fuck happened? Look at you guys now.
And then I hope we get a fucking Nazi to run in 28.
Okay, well, you know what? It took 1 minute and 41 seconds to finally get to a point that we disagree on, right? I'd say that was a win. That was I mean, it took almost 2 minutes for him to use the word Nazi. So that was better than most videos from Nick Fuentes. Typically, Hitler and Nazi is used a lot quicker in the video. So we at least made it to 141 in that. But again, we don't have to listen to any more of that bullshit. We kind of got the gist of it. But let's dive on to, again, one of the better Kyle Shitby videos that I've seen here. Like, talk about tiptoeing on the precipice of the answer. Like, again, this motherfucker should be in Barnum and Bailey circus walking a fucking tightrope from one end of the arena to the other. Because how you could, again, walk this close to the line, this close to the answer, and not see it in front of your face, and not only not see it in front of your face, but still actively defend it, like still actively turn your head the other way, is like, it's beyond me. But this is Kyle Shitby on Newsmax, who says he's going to reveal the real answers about the Epstein file. So I hope you guys are ready. He says they're going to get scary. He says it gets scary. So I hope you guys are ready. You're sitting down, grab your smokes, grab a drink, grab a beer, a whiskey, smoke them if you got them, light a doob, whatever you got to do. But Kyle Shitby here says the real answers about the Epstein files are going to get scary. So let's check it out. And again, this is real quick. This is less than 4 minutes long, and we probably don't even have to watch that much. So, but this is, again, the fucking mental gymnastics in this would be, they did put it on TV on the Olympics right now, Kyle, if you could do it. Check this out.
Why was he talking about replacing Trump, swapping Pompeo as the VP with Mike Pence, and then using the 25th Amendment to make Pompeo the president? These are text messages with what is assumed to be Epstein, confirmed to be with Bannon. Quote, I like the idea of Pence stepping down in favor of Pompeo, so when it happens, he becomes president. That's from allegedly Epstein. And I'm thinking, it? What do you mean by it? Bannon responding, that is his name, has this been shopped? Epstein replies, Rudy did lay out impeachment, Pelosi vote, and don't go after.
I love the fact that he's sitting here reading text message after text message between Jeffrey Epstein and basically everybody that surrounds Donald Trump, right? Like, whether it's Steve Bannon, Elon Musk, Howard Lutnick, right? Ivanka's being named in this one, Rudy Giuliani, Steve Bannon. Like, it's just, they can't, the answers aren't right there, Kyle. It's just not right there in front of your face. Like, everybody in Donald Trump's life, in his black book, in his Rolodex, everybody in his business partnerships, everybody in his fucking golf course, everybody at Mar-a-Lago, and they just will not be like, oh, Donald Trump probably has something to do with this, doesn't he? They just can't do it. I don't understand. But here they're calling out Steve Bannon again, a close associate, a close fucking, confidant, an advisor of Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, hello, sloppy Steve here.
Ivanka. Bannon says, great. Impeaching Trump? Well, I mean, we now know Pompeo was not a product of MAGA doctrine. And
just think of the roller coaster he's on right now, right? So deep MAGA, fucking the most MAGA person you will ever speak to if you speak to Steve Bannon. Nobody's more behind Donald Trump. Nobody is more favorable to Donald Trump. Nobody has ridden harder on or for Donald Trump than Steve Bannon has. Right, so Kyle Higby in this clip has to somehow get it through his mind and be like, okay, this guy that I've applauded this whole time, I've loved Steve Bannon, I've had him on my show, I can almost guarantee it. He's worked and done so much to get Trump elected, and now he's a close associate, you know what I mean, a confidant, he's an advisor. Like, now I'm talking about and bringing up emails between him and Jeffrey Epstein, talking about impeaching Trump, talking about how great it would be if Pompeo could replace this person and that person. And then somehow out of all this, he's got to justify that and somehow get Donald Trump's name out of this and disassociate Donald Trump from any of the wrongdoing, any of the criminalities in this. And then again, he has to go on and be like, why is the DOJ and the FBI not showing us all the information? Like, these are all things that he has to try to juggle in this clip in his brain. It's just, it's a treat. It's a fucking treat for me to try to watch them do it. It is. It's a mucho enjoyable time to have this happen and for us to call it out together. So hit that like button if you do agree. And I appreciate you guys. Let's call it out even further. This is great. I love it.
Was heavily critical of Trump once he left his first term, showing his true colors. And Bannon wanted him to become president.
Yeah.
Am I reading that? There's a possibility.
No. It sounds like you're reading that correct, right? It sounds like you're spot on. Then the next question should be like, who the hell would hire that guy? Like, who the fuck? Excuse me as I get the hiccups. Who the fuck would be dumb enough, would be crazy enough to hire that guy or have that guy around as an advisor? You know, the guy that was dumb enough, the guy that was sick enough to try to rehab the known child sex trafficker, the pedophile's, his image to the world. Let's see how we can let's rehabilitate that. Let's get you out of that hole you're in, Jeff. Let's get you back into the spotlight, right? That's Steve Bannon. But then you're going to think of, who would be stupid enough to hire a guy like that? A guy that, again, knows all the best people. Do I have the best people one? I don't know if I have the best people, but he's just getting acclimated.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated?
Excuse me, acclimated. I thought I was acclimated. You know, he knows better than me, obviously. He's got the best words. I don't think there's any better word than stupid, though. I think I got rid of that one, to tell you the truth. Did I get rid of it?
Wrong.
Okay, sorry. Thought I did. All right, let's get back into it.
That Bannon did nothing wrong and these are being misinterpreted. There's a possibility, giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe you're reading it wrong, Kyle. That's what it is. Maybe it was it just wasn't translated properly from Russian. Maybe that's what it was. The chat GPT didn't properly translate it from the Russian that it was originally written in, possibly. Or maybe it was Hebrew at this point. You never know. Maybe we should take that into account there, Kyle.
Considering he was, like, I defended this guy. I thought he was good for the administration initially. But there's some splaining to do about beyond talking about
Wait a minute. Okay. So the mentions in the emails that you've seen now from Steve Bannon in communication with Jeffrey Epstein, it is enough for Kyle to say, you know what? You got some explaining to do to Steve Bannon. But the alleged million times that Donald Trump has been listed in these files, all of the sexual allegations, all of the fucking tip lines, all of the hotlines, all of the firsthand witness accounts, all of the flight logs with his name on it, all of the videos between him and Jeffrey Epstein, partying together, talking together, schlumming it up together, all of that, none of that has for 1 second gone through Kyle's head and forced him to be like, hey, Donald, you got some explaining to do. You know what I mean? Never. But fucking Steve Bannon, and rightly so on this one, but how he's like seeing this clearly and not Donald Trump's involvement is, again, what needs to be studied for quite some time. And I'm hoping to get that book whenever the psychiatrist working in the chat writes that and credits me for it. I'll be happy to read it. Send me a copy. I'll be right there.
Documentary to revitalize Jeffrey Epstein's image. A lot of people have a lot of explaining to do, way beyond the island, way beyond sexual assault and all those, and rape and all those things.
Right. One of which being Donald Trump, right? Like, wouldn't that answer so many fucking questions? Like, wouldn't that open up so many avenues for these people as to allowing the fucking answers to flood to them? Like, wouldn't so much more of this make sense to them if they just allowed the possibility, allowed themselves to look at Donald Trump for 2 seconds as being the perpetrator, as being the reason why Pam Bondi is doing what she's doing. Kash Patel has lied like the way he's lied. Why Dan Bongino is now back to a fucking podcast already after saying for years and years and years he was going to be the one to expose everybody. He was going to release it all, baby. Nope, he's back to the pod father, as he calls himself. Oh, shit. You can't write it. You can't fucking write it.
More this stuff comes out, the more people keep getting caught in stuff that makes people like me question.
And again, the more people associated with Donald Trump and affiliated with Donald Trump and in business with Donald Trump and in Donald Trump's administration, the more likely you are to figure out and finger the boss, right? Now, what does he say? No, that's
absolutely not. Everything. Everything is now up for question.
Everything? Like even Donald Trump's involvement. Even Donald Trump being the perpetrator of this cover-up. Even Donald Trump being the reason as to why the FBI and the DOJ are now going to the lengths that they're going to hide and redact the information of the criminals in this. Is that why? What do you think he says? You think he says that? I don't know.
Mostly proving that Trump and all the conspiracy theorists
were what?
We were right about it.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, Kyle. You were right there, brother. He was right there. He was right there. He was so close. He was so fucking close. He was right there, bro. Right there. He was. But what did he say? Not only did he not involve Trump, but he says Trump was right about it all. I'm sorry. And I understand. I do take all of this very seriously. It's the people in this that we don't take seriously, right? It's just, how? How do you do that? How do you get that fucking close to the answer? And then not only not step on the landmine that you're clearly right in front of, but you obviously just turn your head and start blitzing the other way. Like, you just grabbed the football and ran into your own end zone. I don't understand. You were just on the 1 yard line, had a wide open touchdown, and for some reason decided to run 99 fucking yards back to your end zone. How does that work? How does that help you? Oh man! But you see, I understand, Karen, that he's not going to say it. I do, believe me, and I obviously we take this with a big grain of salt, and we're not expecting it. But just look at how close they are. Like he is incensed right now. He's out of his fucking mind with like confusion, anxiety. Like he just doesn't understand how this could be possibly happening to them. Like I voted for this guy. We voted for answers. They promised me transparency. How is this possibly happening? And the one person that they voted for, again, who went on to appoint everybody else, is the one person that they don't blame. Oh, yeah, I mean, good point, Webb. Good point. He's an actor. I mean, you could also take it and look at it that way, but he's showing a lot more interest and emotion than clearly they ever have at, like, you know, finding and discovering this and about the cover up, right? Being pissed off that they're being lied to. But it's so difficult for them, and they just refuse so fucking much to look at Donald Trump that they're just spinning in circles. You know what I mean? It's like watching a boat that fucking launched the driver out but got caught like on a hard left, just spinning in a lake that nobody can do anything about because it's going too fast. It's like, it's like, hold on. You just want to grab it and shake it and be like, right there, buddy, right there. The president, the guy that you voted for 3 times. Yeah, that guy. He's the issue. That's what you want to look at. They're going to make, oh, right. Okay, gotcha. Hold on. I just want to get to the end of this. And we'll dive on.
Ton of stuff. Keep in mind, first it was the redactions. Okay, we couldn't get all the files. They were redacting them, and then they redacted Les Wexner. Now
Who the fuck is they, Carl? Who is they? You just exonerated, in your own words, Donald Trump, and you think what? Pam Bondi is afraid that she's in the Epstein files? Why the fuck would Pam Bondi be doing any of this? What the fuck would Todd Blanche be doing any of this for, other than to hide and defend again his client as Donald Trump's personal attorney? You know what I mean? Like, are the connections not clear enough for you? What do you think Kash Patel's afraid that he's in this motherfucker? No, they don't give a fuck. They're doing it to protect somebody or multiple people, all associated with, affiliated with, or working directly for, or having the name of Donald Trump. Oh, you just can't write it. You can't. I know. You go crazy trying to fucking correct them, right? So you just, at some point, just gotta laugh at them. Because if you watch this and you really try to like dig into it and take them seriously and try to work around every word as we used to do, right? You just end up fucking driving yourself nuts. You will spin yourself into the grave trying to fucking decipher what's going on here. What I'm trying to do is, obviously, you guys see it. I mean, you see how close he was. Literally, he's never been closer to the answer. At the very moment, he went on to try to excuse Trump from all of this and say that he was right. He's never been closer to the answer. And somehow he landed as far from the fucking answer as you could possibly land. Oh, I love it. I don't know. What are you going to do? Well, let me go to the end here. Let me see, because I think he says something at the end that I wanted to bring up. I forget now. I've laughed too hard, but let me see.
Voting's a suggestion. And you know what's crazy, folks?
Oh, here we go.
Be in there and start looking this stuff up, because there's a ton of stuff out there. And if we as citizens don't force our government to be transparent.
It's funny how he says it now, like it's a government that he didn't put into power. Like, you see how he just kind of went around that? Like, if we, as the American people, don't like tell our government, this fucking tyrannical government that we voted for and stormed the government for, and fucking we told and wanted to hang Mike Pence for, and all the other stuff that we know, that like we just got to make sure we got to force them to be transparent. It's like, what? Wait a minute. You know who you're talking about, right? You do. Isn't that the guy that you've been like this entire fucking network is made to suck up to? You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly Newsmax's one goal, is to do propaganda for Republicans and Donald Trump. He just, I don't know. I find it funny that he's now like, they're not giving us the answers, and they are not even showing us the redactions, and it's like, who, motherfucker?
Voting's a suggestion. And you know what's crazy, folks, is normally we come out of these monologues and we have a guest for you. We reached out to dozens and dozens
Yeah, this one. Listen.
and dozens of conservatives. And you know how many wanted to come on and talk about it with me?
Oh, that's a lot of dozens. That's a lot of fucking dozens that he said too. And he still doesn't understand why. He doesn't understand why. He knows that they reached out to dozens of Republicans to come on and talk about this issue, and not a single one of them wanted to come on and talk about it, but he just doesn't know why. They said no. Why wouldn't they want to? He said like 4 dozens, bro. That was like 4 dozens, he said. You know how many responded and said yes? 0. Not a single fucking Republican that they reached out to wanted to come on. Not even John Fetterman, who's a Newsmax regular. All right, let's dive on to the next aspect I want to look at here, which is whether or not Trump is a little bit frightened on what kind of information Iran might have involving Trump and the Epstein files. This was put out, what was this, yesterday, I want to say? 9 hours ago at this point, or at least 9 hours ago when I put this on the screen, by the Midas Touch Network, talking about Trump's panic over Epstein files hack and some of the recent statements by some Iranian officials that may suggest that they have something possibly, or it could be a total bluff because of the, again, egregious number of military forces that we have now in the Middle East. But again, this is about... we don't have to listen to much on this either, so we're not going to dive into all of this. But again, just to kind of get the gist of the story, this is Ben from Midas Touch talking about whether or not Trump is a little bit worried about the information Iran might have from their past hacks on Donald Trump.
Files that the Trump regime continues to conceal, have they been hacked by a foreign government? Iran, perhaps. Have foreign governments, Iran, perhaps, have they hacked into the emails of Donald Trump, of people in Donald Trump's regime, of other people who are identified in very grotesque and despicable ways in the Epstein files? We know that Iran has a history of hacking Donald Trump and people in his regime. And Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, has hinted that
would we really put it past Donald Trump for doing all of this military nonsense, for threatening basically a prolonged war, much longer and much different than the precision strike that we saw in Caracas in Venezuela? Like, again, the articles that we'll be talking about later don't depict an in and out type of situation. Okay, this is talking about more of a full scale war type of situation than anything that we saw in Caracas, even though that still led to about over 100 deaths in that one. But yeah, so we'll be diving into a couple aspects, a couple articles that'll talk more in detail about that. But this is, again, are we putting it past Donald Trump to do all of this, to maybe go in and punish the people that stole the information about him in the Epstein files, or information about him and anything else, or to distract from all of this, to give people the war to talk about instead of his involvement in the Epstein files? Again, I'm not a huge believer in everything as a distraction. And again, even if it is, he's kind of got us by the balls, because all the stuff that he's doing is important enough, is dangerous enough that we have to talk about it. But I'm not putting it past him on this one. And again, none of this has really been confirmed as to whether or not, right-hand accountability, whether or not they do have information on this, or what the information would be. But again, Ben goes on here to show a couple of the tweets from the Iranian official that everybody is kind of looking at and speculating that possibly suggests that they do have something here. Let's check it out.
Possibly has information that could bring down Donald Trump and the regime. Here's what Khomeini says. This island of corruption is only one example. There is much more of this. Just as this was not apparent and then became exposed, there are many other things that will soon come to light.
So kind of, a loosely worded tweet, kind of a coded message, if you will. But a lot of people speculating that the island of corruption, obviously Little St. James, Jeffrey Epstein's island, just as this was not apparent and then became exposed. Obviously, people speculating it's talking about the recent releases of not only names, but also the files. There are many other things that will soon come to light. So people are speculating that Iran is in possession. And again, we'll go on and talk about the past hacks that would kind of line up with whether or not they might have some information. But then he goes on to say, everything we have ever heard about their corruption is one thing. This affair of that morally corrupt island is another altogether. These are indicative of what Western civilization and liberal democracies are. They proceed for 200, 300 years, and this is the ultimate outcome. And again, I think Ben goes on here to talk about, let me see here, I'm going to fast forward just a touch, just for the sake of time. Right about here. There we go.
When Microsoft had to go public with the data breach. So what did Iran get in 2024? You may recall to go public.
Go back just a touch where he talks about the hack.
We know that in a spear phishing operation, Microsoft alerted the Trump regime that they were hacked. Frankly, the Trump regime knew they were hacked before Microsoft alerted them, but then the Trump regime had to go public when Microsoft.
You guys might remember this happening because obviously, like he just said, Trump had to go public with it. I think he made a Truth Social post. He made a big stink about, Iran wanting to assassinate him at a lot of points too, as well.
Public with the data breach. So what did Iran get in 2024? You may recall someone by the name of Robert, who was representing the interests of Iran, went to media outlets to try to give them dirt on Donald Trump at that time. There was an indictment against Iranian hackers that followed in September of 2024.
This is after and following what they called the spear phishing hack. And that was, again, the indictment of somebody involved, the hacker involved that was trying to expose apparently some information at the time.
After Iran hacked Trump's Truth social media platform in June of 2025. And Iran said that they got a lot of sensitive information by hacking Truth Social. Whether that's true or not, we don't yet know what they got in that hack, but it is undisputed.
And again, whether it was something they directly got from Truth Social or if they got enough information off of the hack from Truth Social that allowed them to access other things. Like, again, that remains to be seen. Maybe it's not. Obviously, I don't suspect that Donald Trump was keeping files and information about the Epstein files on Truth Social. But again, if he got some sort of passcode, association, some sort of password, you know what I mean? Dates, times, information, a last name, a social security number, or whatever, maybe that would then give him the ability to get into another system or another file or get behind another firewall to get more information. So, it could be just kind of a snowball effect. They get one piece of information off the hack from Truth Social, and that then from there allows them access into different aspects of Donald Trump's background.
Hacked Truth Social when Trump struck Iran, when he attacked Iran's nuclear facilities back last June. Iran utilizes very sophisticated hacker groups. The 313 team is one such group. Handala is another such group, and other Iranian-backed hacker groups have been out there going after the Trump regime and going after people who are affiliated with the Trump regime and who are affiliated with Epstein. One of the people who were hacked that had a treasure trove of Epstein emails.
And again, this is the start of, well, not the start, right, but just the start of tonight where we start having to speak about Israel, Israel's ties, the information that they know, how they know it, what they're looking for, and what they're calling, what they're actually predicting is going to happen as far as from some of the reporting that's been out there from, the Times of Israel, one of the other Israeli publications that we'll have to look at. But this is, again, talking about Ehud Barak and his association with not only Jeffrey Epstein that we've talked about here, but was quietly, it says his email inbox was quietly posted by Distributed Denial of Secrets, a website widely considered to be a successor to WikiLeaks, on a file-sharing platform for verified journalists and researchers in May 2025. The contents came from Handala, a hacker group named for a Palestinian cartoon character that has been leaking files taken from senior Israeli officials for several, I don't know if that says years or months, excuse me, the Chiron down below is blocking it. But again, that's what we're talking about. So if they could get into Barak's email, then that would give them direct access into his communications with Epstein, thus giving them access into maybe some of the dealings and talking about and information about Donald Trump. So again, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Again, it hasn't been confirmed or anything like that. Nothing, to the best of my knowledge, since we've been on here, has been directly released as far as this is concerned. But again, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not beyond what could be possible, right? Especially putting the tweet together and putting all of this other information together.
Iranian-backed hacker group Handala gave to secret former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Dropsite News was the first to report on that hack. We reported it here on the Midas Touch Network, and this was many, many months ago. That hack was May of 2025 or so. By the way, that was before the other hack in June of 2025 on Donald Trump's Truth Social platform. And so Iran had been loading these Epstein documents from Ehud Barak, showing that Epstein and Ehud Barak were involved in these arms deals across the world, when people were saying, oh, it's just conspiratorial that Epstein was involved in all of these things. And we know Epstein is involved in all of these things. Here's how it was described, the emails that they got, that the hacker group got. An Israeli drone company, malaria testing technology, and the...
I'll go on to read this. An Israeli drone company, malaria testing technology, and the proposed sale of an American billionaire's oil and gas empire are among the many previously unknown business ventures that for former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak discussed with the late sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein, leaked emails reveal. Epstein served as a trusted financial advisor, fixer, concierge, sounding board, and even friend to the ex-Israeli leader during a long-running relationship that blurred professional and personal boundaries. That the email suggests.
Proposed sale of an unknown sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein, emails reveal. Epstein served as a trusted financial advisor, fixer, concierge, sounding board, and even professional and personal bounty 5. And you may remember on the Midas Touch Network, we talked about that then. Back in August of 2024, Donald Trump posted, we were just informed by Microsoft Corporation.
Again, this is the post that I was speaking about earlier. We were just informed by Microsoft Corporation that one of our many websites was hacked by the Iranian government. Never a nice thing to do. They were only able to get publicly available information, but nevertheless, they shouldn't be doing any of this of any nature. Iran and others will stop, yada, yada, yada. But again, the fact that he's saying that they only got publicly available information makes me believe that they got a lot more than publicly available information. Anybody else getting that? Anybody else sensing that a little bit? Kind of like when Russia says something, the best thing you could possibly do is believe the complete opposite right off the bat until you learn otherwise. Well, that's the same thing I do for Trump. Like the fact that he felt it necessary to say that they were only available to get publicly available information leads me to believe that they got a shit ton of information that wasn't publicly available. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm assuming right off the fucking bat here. But if everybody remembers this was 8/10/2024, 8:01 p.m. And then, I think this goes on for another minute. I'll just play for another minute here, and we'll dive on to the next, because I want to talk about this Axios article here, breaking down a little bit of what could be possible here, the Trump and what his next moves might be as far as being closer to a major war with Iran. So I just want to play the end of this, and we'll dive on to that article real quick. Here we go.
Corporation that one of our many websites was hacked by the Iranian government.
I just read that.
For long. What Iran doesn't realize is that I will make the...
All right, here we go.
That Truth Social was hacked. Iranian-aligned hackers claim responsibility for Truth Social cyber attack. This is June 23rd, 2025.
I think he just goes on to show further connections between the Iranians and obviously these hacks, the known hacks that they're responsible for. Basically just, tying in the fact that it could very well be possible that they do have a substantial amount of information that could be detrimental to Donald Trump as far as the Epstein files are concerned. But again, not to spend too much time on that one specifically, because a lot of this is very important and very dangerous, and again, could be kicking off in not that, distant in the future. You know what I mean? So this is, again, Axios reports. There's been a few of these been put out and updated in the last couple, let's say day or two about this. But this is specifically Trump moves closer to a major war with Iran by Barak Ravid. And this again states that the Trump administration is closer to a major war in the Middle East than most Americans realize. It could begin very soon. Why it matters, a U.S. military operation. Let me get myself out of the way so you guys can see the whole thing. Why it matters, a U.S. military operation in Iran would likely be a massive, weeks-long campaign that would look more like full-fledged war than last month's pinpoint operation in Venezuela. What was I saying, right? So again, this is not, we'll go on and look at the substantial amount of forces and the variety of forces that are now stationed and heading towards the Middle East. And again, it's far in a way, it blows away anything that Venezuela was facing, right? So again, this says it's not going to be a quick pinpoint strike and in and out, and that's that. It's going to be more like a full-fledged war, like we've been predicting in a weeks-long campaign. And that's what sources say. The sources noted that it would likely be a joint U.S.-Israeli campaign. Like, we didn't see that coming. That's much broader in scope and more existential for the regime than the Israeli-led 12-day war last June, which the U.S. eventually joined to take out Iran's underground nuclear facilities. Again, if we totally obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities, facilities, and all of their weaponry that they had, why the fuck, and that's as Donald Trump claims, why the fuck are we going back in now? Is it because Israel is desperate for the U.S. to go in and maybe have an effect on their long-range missile systems? Is this more to, again, appease Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu so Benjamin Netanyahu could get into another war so it could secure his position? Because we all know that he needs to be involved in conflict so he doesn't, get wrapped up in his corruption trials that he needs to fucking face. Not only that, but his trials and warrants on the international criminal stage, right? So again, who's really who's really pulling the strings behind this? That's a good question. Who's Israeli pulling the strings behind this? It should be the question. Such a war would have a dramatic influence on the entire region and major implications for the remaining 3 years of the Trump presidency. With the attention of Congress and the public otherwise occupied, there is little public debate on what could be the most consequential U.S. military intervention in the Middle East in at least a decade. Okay, so I don't know how I can make this clear. So we have a force right now, and again, I don't know number to number, but could pretty much rival and is the biggest since the the invasion of Iraq, right? I'm not saying it's on the same level or same plane, but basically it's the biggest since then, right? So that goes to tell you exactly what could kick off and what is likely to kick off. Again, you don't what's the old saying? You don't put on a condom unless you're gonna fuck. I forget what movie that's from. Hit me in the chat. It's from a movie. I didn't make that up. I'm not taking credit. But again, oh no, excuse me. That's from Red October. Hunt for Red October? No. Crimson Tide. No, fuck. Crimson. Crimson Tide. Come on, hit me in the chat. I'm gonna be waking up all night thinking about this. I think it's from Crimson Tide. Anybody in the chat? Am I still live? Hello? Anybody there? Anybody? All right. Anyway, well, I'll let you guys catch up on there. I can't see anybody. But anyway, let's break this down a little bit more because Trump came close to striking Iran in early January over the killing of thousands of protesters by the regime. But when the window of opportunity passed, the administration shifted to a two-track approach, nuclear talks paired with a massive military buildup. Crimson October. That's two different movies, and I know you're making fun of me, but that's two different movies. Yeah, now I can see the chat. For some reason, it wasn't movie. It wasn't moving. Christ, now I got movie in my head. Thank you, Tiff. I thought it was Crimson Tide. I thought it was. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I was really gonna be scratching my head the whole time if I couldn't figure that one out. All right. By delaying and bringing so much force to bear, Trump has raised expectations for what an operation will look like if a deal can't be reached. And right now, a deal does not look likely. Trump advisors Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff met with Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi for 3 hours in Geneva on Tuesday. While both sides said the talks made progress, the gaps are wide and U.S. officials are not optimistic about closing them. All right. So again, Trump moves closer to a major war with Iran. And again, this will not be a precision military strike, hit the ground, get something and get the fuck out like the Venezuela, Caracas, Maduro kidnapping was. Okay. This is going to be much more like the invasion of Afghanistan, the invasion of Iraq, and more like a full-fledged war and a weeks-long campaign, as we know, that could easily turn into months, years, and decades. Right? We were all told, oh, yeah, we're just going to be in and out. We're just going to be this. We're only going looking for the WMDs. As soon as we find them, we'll be fucking out of there. We don't need to stay. How'd that turn out for everybody? Right? So I don't know who's putting this weeks-long campaign timeline on it, but I would suspect that, as we all know, that the fucking best-laid plan in military, in war, goes to shit the second the first shot is fired. Okay, so that might be the plan for it to be a weeks-long campaign. But next thing you know, it's 2030 fucking 9, and we still sending our little kids over there. You know what I mean? And that brings me to this, because this was posted by, let me see here. What was this one here? My apologies. I think it was, yeah, here. This is showing, the tankers that are on their way over. Nonstop tankers on the move. Absolutely nuts. This was posted by open source intel, depicting, again, you can look at and track some of the tankers that are in the air, and you look at them over Europe, Paris, Berlin, all heading basically into the region that we're all talking about here. So that was posted there. There was another couple that I wanted to look at on this one as well. Let's see here if I can find it again. Did I lose it? There was a tweet here that I had pulled up. Now I'm forgetting where it was and why I had it pulled up. F-8 Hornets land on the deck of the Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea when launched from the catapult. You can get it in 3 seconds. That's not what I wanted. Let's see here. My apologies. 2 seconds. Thought it had something to do with this. No, that's not it either. Oh, Israel is preparing for the possibility of receiving green light from the United States. This is what I wanted to show right here. Let me throw this on the screen. So again, who is really behind this is the question we're trying to answer here. Again, who is really behind this? Israel is preparing for the possibility of receiving green light from the United States to launch an attack on Iran's ballistic missile system, according to reports, CNN and Anadolu agency. Right, and again, this is posted by open source intel. And I'll read it again. Israel is preparing for the possibility of receiving a green light from the United States to launch an attack on Iran's ballistic missile systems, according to reports, CNN, Anadolu agency. Again, not too familiar with that, but I wanted to make sure that that was on there. And again, this is another article I wanted to take a look at. This is from the Times of Israel, and this says major weeks-long U.S.-Israel operation against Iran could be imminent. Report says. Let me make this a little bigger on your screen so you can follow along at home. Is that a little better? Let me get out of the way. Put this up. So this says a potential war, and we don't have to read all of this. I think there's a paragraph in here I want to read. Potential U.S. war with Iran would be a long, multi-week campaign, sources tell the Axios news site, with the White House staff official putting the chances of a strike in the next coming weeks at 90%. Okay? So that's a fucking damn near guarantee, right? That's got the old fucking stamp of approval set to go. Plans are in place. We're just waiting for the fucking go-ahead, on it right there. That's what that's got. It would likely be a U.S.-Israeli operation, like we said, much larger than the 12-day Israeli-led bombing campaign last June. A number of sources tell Axios that the war could come earlier than most people expect and could be far larger than many anticipate. Never a good fucking thing. U.S. President Donald Trump is getting fed up, says Trump advisor. Some people around him warn him against going to war with Iran, but I think there's a 90% chance we see kinetic action in the next few weeks. Two Israeli officials tell the outlet that Israel is preparing for a war to break out, quote, within days, adding that Israel is advocating for an operation aimed at toppling the regime. So Israel is advocating for an operation aimed at toppling the regime. So, in case you're wondering who is Israeli behind this, and again, there's these kind of, they go on like this as well, because here's another one from Israel. I'm not sure how to say that, Hayom, if I'm saying that wrong, Israel Hayom. And this is what we know about the massive U.S. military buildup in the Middle East. The aircraft carrier U.S. Let me make this a little bigger on your screen. I'll also get out of the way so you can see more clearly. How's that? A little better? And then let me hop out of the way so you guys can see it. All right, so this is, again, Israel Hayom. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. My apologies. The aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford is heading to the Middle East to join USS Abraham Lincoln, which is already operating in the Arabian Sea alongside the growing naval presence, massive air traffic of F-35s, F-22s, F-16 fighter jets have been recorded, while U.S. bases in Jordan, Qatar, across the Gulf have received significant reinforcements. This goes on to depict a little bit. The USS aircraft carrier, USS Gerald Ford, left the Caribbean Sea for the Atlantic Ocean on its way to the Middle East, the Washington Post reports, citing U.S. security officials. According to the newspaper, the carrier is being escorted by 5 destroyers. The Ford is expected to join the USS Abraham Lincoln and its carrier strike group, which have been operating in the Arabian Sea since late January. A significant U.S. naval presence is already concentrated in the Middle East. Alongside the Lincoln are 3 escorting destroyers. In the Persian Gulf near the Strait of Hormuz, 2 additional destroyers and 3 warships equipped with mine-clearing systems for near-shore combat are deployed. In the Red Sea, the destroyer USS Delbert D. Black is operating, while 2 more destroyers are stationed in the Mediterranean Sea. And again, if this loads, this gives you a kind of the ability I might have to refresh at some point, but I'll go on. At the same time, extensive air traffic to the region has been recorded over the past day. According to publicly available flight tracking data and open source intelligence analysis, F-16 and F-22 fighter jets took off from the U.S. and crossed Europe, accompanied by aerial refueling aircraft, which is the tankers that we were looking at, and have arrived yesterday. According to Axios, reported more than 50 fighter aircraft, including F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s, were transferred to the region in the past 24 hours, a figure confirmed by an official U.S. source. The reports rely largely on open flight tracking data, particularly of refueling aircraft analysis of the squadron stationed at departure bases and communications data. Official confirmation of force deployments is not routinely published unless there is an operational or other need to do so. Several U.S. bases in the region are serving as destinations for the incoming aircraft. This include Mufawak, Salti Air Base in Jordan, where dozens of F-15E fighters have already been deployed, and where F-35s are also believed to be heading, in Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, which serves as the forward headquarters for the U.S. Central Command. The U.S. also maintains additional bases in the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Oman. In addition, THAAD and Patriot air defense missile systems have been reportedly deployed at U.S. bases in the region, amid the understanding that in the event of a strike on Iran, they could become targets for retaliation, as occurred following Operation Midnight Hammer in June, when Iran attacked Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Satellite images last week indicated that the operational deployment of Patriot batteries at the base. Spy planes, relay aircraft, electronic warfare, and search and rescue aircraft have also been positioned, and dozens of heavy transport flights by C-17, C-5 aircraft have been documented carrying equipment to various bases. The carrier-based air wings included F-35C jets, FA-18 aircraft, EA-18G electronic warfare planes, and E-2D early warning command aircraft. Alongside combat and rescue helicopters, each destroyer is equipped with dozens of Tomahawk missiles capable of conducting precision strikes at ranges of thousands of kilometers. So again, just to depict a little bit of the force that is in there. Let me see if I can refresh this, because if this comes up, it gives us a pretty good depiction and a pretty good look at the forces in the area. Let me see if I can get that to come up now, or if it's just going to be a pain in the ass for me here. There we go. Is it going to work though? Is it going to work? So it should be showing me kind of the forces in the area. There we go. See them pop up now? Yeah, here we go. So you can see submarines. Here we go. There's a sub. Air. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, I'll make it the whole screen. How about that? Is that what it wants me to do? Let me whole screen this bitch. No. Let me whole screen it. It won't let me? Okay, we'll do it like this then. All right, so just kind of going around the area. You can see the substantial forces. Here we go, some destroyers. We got another submarine up here in the Mediterranean. Down here in the Arabian, aircraft carrier, submarine, obviously tankers, refuelers, smaller landing craft here, planes. I mean, they got they're ready to rock and roll. It's like Independence Day right now, and they're waiting for the aliens' fucking mothership to arrive. As you can see, and if you scroll in, you probably get a better depiction of just, here's the USS McFall. Here's Doha. You can see planes here, obviously stationed there. What do we got here? Another submarine. Obviously not going to tell you which one it is, I don't think. I'm surprised they actually tell you which one this is. So here's a Corvette. What's this one? What do we got here? Fateh. Oh, that's the Iranians. My apologies. My apologies. That makes sense. I was wondering why they were giving the names of these things. So yeah, we got the U.S. aircraft here. There's El Udeid Air Base. KC-135 Stratotanker in the air. Let's see what else we got over here. Here's another C-17 Globemaster. What do we got here? What's this pad, Larry? RAF combat aircraft, so it doesn't really depict exactly which one. Looks probably like a Eurofighter Typhoon, if I had to guess. But again, just to kind of depict the forces in the area there. Pretty substantial. What's this one? The Abraham Lincoln? Or yeah, that one's the Lincoln. And then I'm assuming this one up here would be, where'd it go? Would be the USS Gerald R. Ford. There we go, up there. So obviously you can see the amount of forces in the area. We looked at the tankers that are obviously making its way up and down, in this region, trying to refuel, keep these places, keep these planes in the air. Is another Boeing E-3 Sentry. I mean, it's fucking nuts what we're talking about here. I mean, we called this the president of peace, my ass. The no new wars president, my ass. And it continues here. Here's another one because this is even crazier. This was posted on 4chan, right? So this was Tuesday, February 2026. And it says, I posted yesterday with a 36-hour timeline. We are now in the 24-hour window. Look for a significant number of Iranian leaderships to be exterminated. Okay? The leadership of Iran is made up of secret council of 22 military and political leaders who met regularly in the bunker in Tehran. One of their members is a Mossad agent. So basically, Mossad has infiltrated, and that's how they kind of have this information, right? So needless to say, this group goes first. Israel knows that after the last few years, this is the time to end this shit show, and tactical nukes will take out most of Iran's missile infrastructure in the first strike. Tehran will go in the first wave with a false flag attack set up for Israel to kick things off. Cheers. And again, this is being speculated here because all of the reporting seems to suggest, coming from Israel, coming from Axios, to suggest that this is pretty much spot on. I don't know about the hour window and the time of it to kick on, for it to kick off exactly, but all the reporting suggests that this is pretty imminent, right? He also goes on to say that Venezuela was a test for what is happening in Iran. A large part of the Iranian military and leadership will be vaporized in the opening salvos. Israel will use tactical nukes to take out Iranian missiles and their bases. We are about T-minus 3 days now. Okay? And again, a lot of people have brought this up, and it's making the rounds. Obviously, I'm not on 4chan, but this is making the rounds on social media. I've seen a few people kind of talking about this in videos and tweets and posts and stuff like that, as being something that we should probably keep an eye on. Because as we just heard, the main focus from at least what we read about in the article was that Israel wanted Iran's missile systems, right? They wanted their missile capabilities to be completely wiped out, which is exactly what this is saying here, right? As a large part of the Iranian military leadership will be vaporized in the opening salvos. Israel will use tactical nukes to take out Iranian missiles and their bases. We're about T-minus 3 days now, right? Which is, again, crazy. And then Axios also had kind of this article kind of depicting a few points as to why, a few reasons the U.S. and Iran are on the brink of war. Just go through it quickly here. The big picture: Trump has been trying to strike a nuclear deal with Iran since he retook the White House last year. But after abandoning previous rounds of talks and ordering strikes last June, Trump may be about to repeat that pattern on a larger scale. Reality check. So they go into number them here. Long-running nuclear dispute. Don't think is important here. We've talked about and brought up ample fucking video clips of Netanyahu for the last 20, 30 years from everybody left, right, and center telling us Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon in the next, 7 seconds, 70 years, 7 million years. They don't know, but it's going to be imminent, right? This goes on to talk about, as number 2, protester killings. Trump came close to striking Iran in early January over the killing of thousands of protesters by the Iranian regime, which at least would have been his cover, right? That's what he would have used as the excuse, but you could be damn sure that wouldn't have been the reason. You don't give a flying motherfuck about no Iranian protesters and what happens to them. You can guarantee that one. Take that one to the bank. Chekhov's aircraft carrier, having made repeat threats against Iranian regime and then sent 2 aircraft carriers to the region, Trump has created enormous expectations globally that he will strike Iran if he can't swiftly secure a deal. There are no signs that a deal is close, but many signs war is. Backing down now is not in Trump's character. Pressure, backing down absolutely is in Trump's character. That's why he's called Taco Trump. You better get that one right, Axios. But this is the one that I definitely want to look at here, because number 4 on the list here is pressure from Israel. So again, in case you want to know who's Israeli behind it, the Israeli government is preparing for war and advocating for a comprehensive operation far beyond the pinprick strikes Trump considered back in January. That sentence is telling me that they're in charge. Okay, the way that sentence is written, the way that's being depicted, the way that the reports are coming out, this is telling me that this is a fucking Benjamin Netanyahu-led action. Okay, or this is 100% to appease Benjamin Netanyahu. You fucking make the choice here. Officials from both countries can expect much broader U.S.-Israeli campaign than the last one in June. Even during nuclear talks, Trump and Israeli Prime Minister, war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu have been coordinating closely and agreed to put new economic pressure on Iran. What we're watching, the Israeli government is preparing for a scenario of war within days and could involve targets aimed to bring down the regime, in addition to decimating its nuclear and missile programs, which, again, they already told you that were completely decimated. The nuclear program was completely decimated. That'll never fucking rise up from the grave again. But somehow now they're using that as further excuse. They didn't quite get it all, I guess, last time. They left a little bit sitting there. And then again, the oil factor, the current oil market may offer a strategic window for Trump to strike Iran. Markets are well supplied. Prices are relatively low. Demand growth is modest, and Iran's proxy capabilities are weakened. Again, just would make sense in what we've seen already from the Venezuela kidnapping of Maduro, the seizure of the oil, whether it's going from Venezuela to China or Venezuela to Russia, the shadow fleet, in the harassment that we've seen lately on the Russian shadow fleet. So this would kind of fall right in line, right? This kind of, fits the puzzle, so to speak, as to Donald Trump's kind of characteristics, the things that he undertakes when he does go through these processes here. So again, number 6 is a sense of regime weakness, which again, a lot of people have been talking about as of late. Obviously, with the recent protests in the country and the inability that the regime had to kind of crack down the way that they normally have the ability to crack down on those, and the extent to which they kind of got out of control, how long they lasted, put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, as far as people looking at the strength of this Iranian regime. I think everybody's kind of looking at them on their last legs, but whether or not that is, obviously an excuse for a full-fledged, months-long war here is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Let's let that fucking country deal with their own shit. We don't have to be sitting here, again, starting wars in the Middle East that are going to last for another 10, 20, 30 years that are going to get thousands and thousands and thousands of young men, women, and children fucking killed when they grow up to serve in the military at some point. So, all right. And then this is, again, we'll dive into this video here kind of right along the same lines of what we've been talking about. This is Preston Stewart talking about the largest deployment in decades, suggests war is near. And this is going to go on to give us further detail into, again, the number of forces in the area, kind of the historical significance of the last time we can even look back at when we had a force like this in any area. And again, this is Preston Stewart here. Largest deployment in decades, suggests war is near, as everybody else is reporting. So again, let's dive into this. I appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Make sure you hit that like button. Again, I can only survive with the contributions that you guys put into this channel, whether it's $1 into the chat, whether it's $1 or $2 to the Venmo, whether it's signing up for a YouTube membership or on patreon.com. This show and the lights don't stay on. I can't feed myself, right? I don't get to operate if you guys don't contribute to the show. We are 100% operated on financial contributions, no financial backers, no sponsors. We don't sell you any bullshit products, lying to you and say that they changed our lives. I don't charge you for a Substack. I don't charge you to view any of my content. I find that to be utterly fucking ridiculous and preposterous that a channel would charge you to see this like incredibly important content in the most incredibly fucking important part in this country, moment in this country. I find that to be asinine, and I won't do it to you. All I ask is if you find some, appreciation, if you find some value, if you find some entertainment in the show, in the podcast, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to the channel, and if you can, send $1 or $2. Goes a long way. Venmo is typically the quickest and most direct way to get it to the channel, but again, any way you want to get it through, I'm more than happy to do it. More than happy to say thank you for it. So, all right, let's dive into this real quick.
The Trump administration is closer to a major war in the Middle East than most Americans realize. That's Axios reporting last night what most of us are seeing, that it is looking more and more like war with Iran is imminent. This is the largest buildup of U.S. military forces in the Middle East in decades, significantly larger than recent operations against Venezuela or even last year's strikes on Iran, Operation Midnight Hammer. So today we're going to talk about what is happening right now, as well as some arguments being made.
I'd say it's probably bigger than both of them put together. Right, you could probably throw Operation Midnight Hammer onto the task force that was sent to go get Maduro, and then we're probably looking at maybe around the force that we have outside in the Middle East right now.
And against U.S. military action in Iran. And I want to start with the scale of this buildup. Ian Ellis over on X does an incredible job documenting what is publicly known.
Look at this. Look at this. This is, again, basically a different graphic, a different depiction of what we were just looking at, of the military buildup here. but I mean, it's fucking substantial, like really substantial. You know what I mean? I mean, we're looking at the Ford, the Churchill, the Mahan, the Rainbridge, the SSN Escort, Arctic, Kanawha, Oscar Austin, Paul Ignatius, the Hirzen, Mount Whitney, the Puller, the Tharp, the Georgia, the Roosevelt, the Buckley. Look at all the aircraft that we're talking about. Look at all the air bases that we're talking about. It's fucking nuts. Craziness. So obviously, again, like I said, you don't put the rubber on unless you tend to, you're looking to screw, ladies and gentlemen.
In terms of U.S. military assets in the region. And you should look at this chart.
9 squadrons of carrier air wing CVW-8. We got here F-8-18, 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 E-2D, C-2A, F-18, MH-60S, MH-60R. You got USS Bainbridge, USS Mahan, USS Winston S. Churchill, USS Gerald Ford, which look at the planes, the air assets. This is the 54 F-35A Lightning II from Lakenheath, UK. 36 F-15E Strike Eagles. Look at all this shit. Air assets from CENTCOM here. 24 U.S. Air Force F-15s. 12 U.S. Air Force F-16s. 12 VTANG F-35A. 158 fighter wing. 1 squadron of the U.S. Air Force A-10 Warthogs, Thunderbolts, 6 USN E-8-18G Growlers. Fucking hell. what's that? C-5 Galaxy, C-17 Globemaster. Look at all this shit.
I think Ian's going to have to make this a 2-pager before too long. It's getting awfully small on there. But, I mean, it gives you an idea.
Holy shit. Naval Astrets, illustrative Tomahawk land attack missiles. What do you see? USS Mitchell, USS McFall, USS Spruance, USS Michael Murphy, USS Delbert Black, USS Frank Peterson, USS Pigney, USS John Finn. My dad will get a kick out of that one. Look at all the CSG escort sub ×2. Look at all these motherfuckers. The USS Georgia, which is an SSGN 72N, USS South Dakota, SSN 790. USS Paul Ignatius, which is a DDG 117. Look at all of them. We're still going. Other U.S. Navy ships, military SEAL, like we're still going here.
How much is headed to the region? But
what's on the bottom here? So these are all what? Probably supply ships and shit. USS Mount Whitney, which is an LCC. USS Lewis Puller, ESB. USS Miguel Keith, ESB. Tulsa, Cranborough, Charles Muthrope. Good grief. Look at all of them.
This is just what is public. And just in the last few hours, we've already got more information.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, great point, Jim. How much is this costing the American taxpayer? Huh? How much is this? I mean, add this up with the, the amount that they're spending on, concentration camp warehouses, the $10 billion that they want to give Donald Trump out of the Treasury, the scamming that he's done with Doge, right? The crypto scams. All of the bullshit behind the scenes to get Donald Trump his defense contracts and all the companies that he's affiliated with. Add all of this up, baby, because it keeps growing by the day.
American F-22s have left the United States en route to the Middle East. The last time that they were used during Operation Midnight Hammer, they arrived in theater 4 days before those strikes were carried out, something to keep back of mind. Additionally, there is
okay. When was this made? I just want to go back for a second. This was made 3 hours ago. Okay, so what did he just say? The last time Operation Midnight Hammer was conducted, the F-22s went there 4 days in advance, right? So again, if we look at this, right? If we look at this, we are T-minus 3 days now on February 17th. So this was yesterday that he said it. But I mean, to be this fucking close, right, doesn't seem like it would be far off. So again, if they're going to play the same kind of tactics and they're kind of using the same protocol as far as when they want the F-22s there, how far in advance they want them there to be, checked, preloaded with the weaponry they need to get their, assignments down, the coordinates, the routes, the navigation, all of it down, plans of attack, obviously routes of escape, all of these things that you need to you need to think of when planning in a mission like this. We're talking about, a timeline that would match up with whatever this asshole, this anonymous writer, user of 4chan put on there. So again, just to show you how things are kind of, they're slightly lining up here, not to confirm or deny anything, but they are definitely lining up in a way that, may suggest that this is kicking off sooner rather than later.
Is a nonstop flow of supply and
His
logistics.
name is Preston Stewart. Steph. So PRESTON STEWART. He's got 1 million subscribers. This has got about 70,000 views in the last 3 hours. In case anybody's wondering, in case anybody's not familiar with Preston, we watch a lot of Preston stuff here. So let me play this more.
In logistics aircraft, be it cargo planes or refuelers heading from around the world, mostly the United States and Europe, into the Middle East right now. The buildup there has not stopped. It is continuing. And there's nothing like this that I can remember. All right, so the last time that we had anything near this size happening in the Middle East was late 2002 into early 2003.
You guys remember what happened then? What happened around 2002, 2003? You guys can you catch me up in the chat? I know I'm old. I'm getting old at 40. I was around, but you guys might have to refresh my memory as to what took place 2002, 2003.
Up to the eventual invasion of Iraq.
That's right. That's what it was. All right. Sorry, my bad. Mind fart. Sorry. No, forgot about that little war that we had there that lasted a while.
Give you an idea. Now, one notable piece that's missing, if we're going to make that comparison from now to 2003, is
I hope everybody knew I was being facetious on that one. I was only kidding. I absolutely knew what the significance of the time was there. I was just being facetious.
Boots on ground. There's nowhere near the same quantity of U.S. military, Marines, and soldiers on the ground that would take part in any sort of land invasion of Iran. So everything that we're looking at right now speaks to an air campaign. In fact,
I guess that's kind of the only point that isn't leading to, an imminent kind of action and imminent kind of invasion type of force being there, which is the lack of boots on the ground type of troops that would normally be involved in, a beach style landing or that type. So again, as to what the plan is, what the actions are going to be, if it's just going to be airstrikes instead of, landings, instead of, kidnappings, instead of getting in there and doing things on boots on the ground, remains to be seen. But, one can remember the whole shock and awe that we went through, right? Remember the old shock and awe campaign? I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking for a lot of shock and a lot of awe, and they're going to try to, again, reestablish that night that we saw on live television.
We've got a couple different analysts here suggesting that this could be a rather sustained campaign at that. But the buildup here, we know that one carrier strike group is already in theater. There's another set to arrive in the next couple of days, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Each of those have their own associated carrier air wing that includes F-35s and F-18s. There's as many as 12 destroyers already in the region. And then when you're looking at land-based aircraft, I'm hesitant to even give numbers here because this is changing by the day. But let's just, to keep it simple, say we have a number of F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, and A-10s already forward deployed in the Middle East, and even more in Europe that could, and some are, being moved forward into areas where they can carry out strikes on Iran. Now, in terms of what's happening right now, kind of the backdrop is that talks are ongoing around something, depends on the day, generally the Iranian nuclear program. And it looks very similar to how these talks have played out in the past. The pessimistic side of me says this isn't going anywhere, and I think there's some folks that would agree with that.
That's what all the reporting suggests. I mean, all the reporting that we've even read on this show has pretty much stated the same thing, that, as far as a deal coming into place before any of this action kicks off is highly unlikely. The talks, even though are ongoing, don't seem to be going anywhere, don't seem to be resulting in anything. At this point, it's more of a waste of time, and more of kind of like a show, a display, a theatrical fucking performance, and that this kind of whole action, this whole military action was going to be the end goal. Like this was always going to be the outcome at the end of the day.
What we've heard most recently is that the two sides have agreed to keep talking, which is kind of diplomatic talk for no progress made. Let's see if we can get closer next time around. And when you look at the list of demands from the United States and what Iran has said they are or are not willing to talk about, again, it's just hard to see how there's any room for progress there. So to nobody's surprise, doesn't appear to be a lot of progress at this point. And Axios overnight reported, quote, "The Trump administration is closer to a major war in the Middle East than most Americans realize. It could begin very soon. A U.S. military option in Iran would likely be a massive weeks-long campaign that would look more like full-fledged war than last month's pinpoint operation in Venezuela. The sources note that it would likely be a joint U.S.-Israeli campaign.
And again, it's
much
hard to
broad-
not see this as Donald Trump using your sons, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews, my friends, my family, my cousins that are now serving in the military as political pawns, right? To do the dirty work, to do the bidding of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel in hopes of not only, succeeding in giving him more power and the ability to kill more human beings, but also the ability to, change the news topic, to change what people are talking about in the United States, to the war that's happening, as opposed to Donald Trump's connection and all of the associates and affiliates and people working in Donald Trump's administration to the Epstein files, right? So again, absolutely wouldn't put it past them.
In scope and more existential to the Iranian regime than the Israeli-led 12-day war last June. The Times of Israel had a write-up on this as well, where they quoted former IDF military intelligence chief Amos Yadlin saying that a military confrontation between the United States and Iran could begin in the coming days and be an intensive multi-week campaign. He said the confrontation could be imminent. Quote, last week, I allowed myself to fly to the Munich Security Conference.
Look at what it says here. Ex-IDF military intelligence chief says we're much closer than before to conflict as U.S. Energy Secretary warns Washington will stop Tehran getting nukes one way or the other.
Twice about flying abroad from Israel this weekend. He says we're much closer than we were before, but I remind you, a superpower does not go to war in a matter of days. There is a diplomatic path that must be exhausted. Adding that many people still do oppose the attack. And we're going to look at some of those assessments here in just a moment. He also said that the Pentagon is not clear what they want to achieve. They quote two Israeli officials that Israel is preparing for a war to break out within days, adding that Israel is pushing an operation aimed at toppling the regime. Now,
Israel is pushing. Israel is pushing. Again, all seems to boil down to the U.S. not even being fucking in the lead on this one, right? We're kind of being, again, led around by the nose like we were last time, like Benjamin Netanyahu has continued to do to Donald Trump, to use him as a pawn, to get more favorability, even though more and more people in this country look less favorably upon Israel and the government of Israel and what they've been perpetrating and the genocide that they've been engaged in, right? By the day in this country. So, but they don't give a fuck because as long as they're robbing, stealing, and pillaging, and as long Benjamin Netanyahu gets to remain in power and he doesn't have to face his corruption charge, or again the warrant by the ICC on the international stage for the war criminal that he is, as long as he doesn't have to face any of the accountability and justice, doesn't matter who hates him. He doesn't give a shit who hates him.
There, that piece kind of flying under the radar a little bit, I think,
or the detriment to the people of his country.
Now, this is a former IDF intelligence chief. So, I'm certain he has a lot of contacts throughout the United States and throughout Israel. I would be surprised if he is spun up day to day on the current status of U.S. plans related to Iran. So
why they let a fucking reporter into a signal chat, Preston? I mean, again, you do great work, but I'm going to sit here and not put anything beyond the realm of possibilities as far as these assholes are concerned and the information leaks. In kind of the incompetent, ignorant people that work in these agencies. And again, the drunken nature of them probably letting off and firing off a couple tweets with some information they probably shouldn't release. Not putting it by against fucking Pete Hegseth, right?
Says the Pentagon is not clear on what they want to achieve. He probably did not just get off a briefing from Secretary Hegseth about the war.
Thank you guys for the Venmos. I see you guys sending Venmos. I'm be sure, like I do at the end of every show, to highlight and thank and appreciate everybody that sent a Venmo or a super chat or a super sticker or reached a milestone in your membership. All of them all get to be recognized and highlighted at the end of every podcast. So again, if you send anything in, make sure you stick around so I can say thank you to you. I appreciate you.
So we're trying to pursue. That said, it's not shocking if I were to hear that the Pentagon is still trying to figure out exactly what the goal is here, because we have seen what looks like a bit of a shift in the dynamics over the course of the last couple of months. When the protests kicked off, and more on that here in a second, when the protests kicked off, President Trump was mainly focused on that. Don't go after the protesters. We're going to protect the protesters. Help is on the way. Right?
Yeah, because it was politically expedient. He was using that. And again, I'm not saying that Preston doesn't know this. He's kind of just rehashing what happened. So I'm not assuming that he thinks this way. But again, he was using that because it was politically expedient. He could use that widely reported news story, to justify his actions and to use as, the reasons for his threats and his aggression towards the Iranian regime. So again, once that kind of subsided, once he couldn't use that anymore, now he's kind of, reaching for straws, grasping for straws at another reason, or he's just going full-fledged, okay, military action was the one and only goal. We didn't give a shit what you were talking about type of way.
And those strikes didn't occur. We saw a bit of a shift to kind of re-engaging on the nuclear question. So, and regime change doesn't seem to have come up hardly at all in official U.S. circles. So, what is the Pentagon goal here? It's a good question. I don't know that there's a clear public assessment.
Well, I do believe that Donald Trump was questioned on the tarmac. I don't know if it was outside of the White House or if he was on location somewhere at one of his shitty fucking fake palatial spots that he's got. But he was, I think, directly questioned about what he was looking to do. And I do believe, I don't know if he just repeated the question, but he did have Iranian regime change. I do believe he said, I think that would be nice, or something along those lines.
Knowledge of that. Now, the Atlantic Council put out a piece, I think just yesterday, beating the war drum, saying now is the time, let's do it, full steam ahead. They laid out 6 reasons why, in their opinion, Trump should pursue the military option. I'll have all of these sources linked in the description below if you want to read into them in further depth. The Atlantic Council said, first, this is a unique moment to reshape the Middle East. And they argue what I've argued recently, that the Iranian regime is arguably the weakest now than they have been since their formation in 1979.
Yeah, so go in, murder, plunder, pillage. I mean, why not? They're at their weakest, so we might as well. These fucking bloodthirsty, war-hungry mongrels. All right, we don't have to dive into too much of that. I think we've kind of covered and beat the dead horse enough as far as this evening is concerned and Donald Trump's action in Iran. I think if anything obviously comes from this, anything more is reported, I'll be the first one to get here, get you the updates, obviously, so that we can stay on top of what's happening there. But if I can, just for the last kind of 20 or so minutes, if we could dive into this military show video that I wanted to take a look at, talking about Ukraine striking back and taking back what's theirs, and then Russia has been forced into a humiliating war-ending retreat. Again, I think that's a bit of hyperbole. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a war-ending retreat, but I do, again, get the message that they're trying to send through here as far as what they're concerned. And again, any number of accounts are talking about this. There's a Ukraine Matters video. Russia's military nightmare continues as Ukraine pushes forward. There's a few of them here from the Sun that you could take a look at. Exposed Ukrainian counterattack sees biggest battlefield gains. The military show got another one. Ukraine scores massive hat trick. Preston Stewart got one. Every 2 minutes, Ukrainian strikes. So a lot of these are talking about a tank collapse. A lot of them here. So I picked this one. This one's a pretty good one. It's not even 20 minutes long, so we might make it through the whole thing here. But this is, again, depicting some of the successes seen recently, some of the changes in tactics seen recently, in the improvements, and like I keep saying, successes seen by the Ukrainian military in southeastern Ukraine in the Zaporizhia Oblast. So let's take a look at this. I really do appreciate you guys for sticking with me, for supporting not only democracy in the United States, but democracy abroad, for recognizing and supporting the plight of people that may not look like you, that may not talk like you, but are human beings nonetheless and deserve the respect and the help that that the rest of us deserve as well. So I appreciate you guys for being with us. Slava Ukraine. I appreciate everybody that supports Ukraine as well. So let's dive into this. Let's get into it.
Ukraine has been building up for this. For months, it's whittled away at the Russian war machine, weakening Putin's forces over time. Now, Ukraine struck. Ripping through the Russian front line in one brutal push, Ukraine has carved a 9.5-kilometer scar into Russia's defenses. This is humiliating for Russia, embarrassing. And as the Russian front rips wide open, Ukraine takes back what's theirs to force Russia into retreat. Following Russia's recent loss of the illicit Starlink terminals that it used for everything from basic battlefield communication to its long and mid-range...
You can't really put too much of an emphasis on how much this is causing chaos and how much that this coinciding with the Ukrainian counteroffensive here, the loss of Starlink, and obviously the Telegram issues that they've been facing are kind of, working towards, helping the Ukrainians and to the benefit of the Ukrainian military and helping them regain this territory that, again, it took Russia weeks and months to gain, and thousands, tens of thousands of lost soldiers, exposed on the battlefield to get this territory that they're now giving up in weeks, days, hours.
Drone assaults. Ukraine has taken advantage, launching assaults across 3 sectors of the approximate 1,100-kilometer or 684-mile front line. Ukraine has sent Russian infiltration.
That's wild to think. 684-mile front line. You know what I mean? It's hard to put that into perspective, just how much of a problem that is and how crazy that is logistically to sustain and to supply a military on a 684-mile front. as big as Ukraine is, as no air. It's unbelievable.
Forces packing and reclaim territory that Russia took months to capture. The numbers make for embarrassing reading for Putin. As for February 16th, Ukraine has liberated over a dozen settlements in about a week and appears to be pushing toward a major Russian defensive hub as its soldiers go on the hunt. We'll come back to that hub soon. Ukraine's biggest gains took place in the Zaporizhia region, where its combined assault infantry, drone units, and armored transport teams managed to retake 5 villages across a 30-kilometer or 19-mile combat line near the city of Huliapola. Russia's forces in that area have been forced to go on the run.
So again, that's right here, as you can see on the map. We've been talking about this region for quite some time in the last week or two, so to speak. And again, we got Ternovat up here just to the north. Let me see here. Where are you, you son of a bitch? Ternovat, yeah, up here, right to the north here, which is again another area that we've been talking about, which Ukraine just struck back on. But there's another area down here, even further south, that we were also talking about. Down here near Plavny, Stepnorisk, Stepove, right, Kamyansk. So there's another action. There's more engagement taking place in this area as well. So if you can see here, if I zoom out, you can see Huliapol here, and then the other action somewhere down here. So you can see on a pretty wide front in multiple different areas that the Ukrainians are trying to strike and prod and probe to see where the Russians are weak and where they can get through. As you just heard, that they've kind of opened up what is an almost 10-kilometer kind of scar, as they called it, hopefully a hole, a gap in which they can let troops, drones, armor through, whatever it may be. So obviously successful in that regard so far. But yeah, this is kind of a few of the areas, obviously. And if we go up further, you can see where Pokrovsk is, right? So this is another area that we were talking about for quite some time. And, as you can see here, how long ago was it that the Russians said that they had taken all of Pokrovsk, right? So you can see, obviously, the overwhelming amount, a substantial amount of Pokrovsk and Mirnorad have been taken over. But you can see here, right, this is still, defended territory. This is not anything that, Deep State is willing to hand over to the Russians as far as being, under their control. And this is still part of Pokrovsk, right? This is a small sliver. It's, it's a fraction of it, but it's Pokrovsk nonetheless, right? So to say that they've already taken it, 7, 8, 9, 15 times already. All of the number of attacks that we've seen up and down the front, substantially behind the front lines on the Russian military, and the Ukrainians being able to get away with it. Just goes to show that, again, the general redness of the area does give you a little bit of, does do it like a misjustice. You know what I mean? It's not all of this territory, if you go there, will have Russians stationed there. So that's kind of, I keep trying to drill that into everybody's head, as the Russians don't have the troops to be able to station people at all of these towns and intersections and everything like that to have it fully under their control and occupation, right? That's kind of what all the red would suggest, but that's not actually what happens, right? Not to mention that there is a substantial kind of no man's land, as we were talking about last show, between the front lines, the Russian front lines and the Ukrainian front lines. The Ukrainians trying to, again, push that closer and push the Russians back, obviously. But just to kind of give you a better look at where on the map we're talking about in southeastern Ukraine. Here, I'll just zoom out. There's Zaporizhia, Dnipro, Kharkiv, obviously Kyiv up in the north. And then down here in the southeast is the areas that we're talking about. So down here, obviously, where the Plavny, we're talking about here, Stepove. And then if you go up the coast here, or up the front, I should say, to Huliapol, and then up here to Ternovat, which is another area we've been discussing. So just to kind of bring it back to you on the front lines there.
They've retreated all the way back across the Haichur River that it had taken them months to cross, undoing gains made back in the summer in the process. This is huge for Ukraine, and Euromaidan Press has even more details. It points out that Russia had spent about 2 months on offensives in the direction of Alexandrivka and Huliapola, capturing the latter to enable pushes west and northwest. However, something went wrong for Russia. Around February 8th, which is uncoincidentally around the time that Russia lost access to Starlink, the pushes in these directions nearly stopped.
And again, it leads me to the question: was Elon Musk informed of the Ukrainian counteroffensive? Right? Did again, this just happen to coincide perfectly with these actions and the battle plans that were clearly, being built up quite some time before, right? So again, it just kind of begs the question. I don't know if it's been reported. I don't know if there's been any thing that I've kind of missed out there to give the answer to this. But again, was there some information kind of being like, okay, we're going to launch our counteroffensive this time? If you could really cut off their Starlink, that would be fucking fantastic, and that would give us a huge advantage, right? Or if it was just like, Elon saw his name in the Epstein files a bunch and was like, I got to do something to get my name out of the headlines, or at least get the headlines being talked about something else and be the good headlines, good press. And it just kind of happened to coincide with the Ukrainian offensive. Let me know what you guys think in the chat on that one. You know what I mean? Because I don't believe, with the recent reporting that I've had at the lack of trust that the Ukrainians have in the in the American intelligence, not in the intelligence that they're getting, but in their ability to keep information secret and not divulge information to the Russians more specifically. Like, I just don't know if the Ukrainians would go out that far on the limb to trust Elon Musk with the obvious important information of the date of the counteroffensive, where it might take place, what Starlinks would be most advantageous for them to take out. That would obviously give away the direction of the assault, right? I mean, if you're going to say, hey, take out all the Starlinks in the southeast, it would really help us. Obviously, they think, no, something's coming in the southeast. You get my drift. So, but I have a hard time believing that they would trust anybody, especially Elon Musk or anybody in the United States intelligence services right now with this information. But again, that's why it kind of raises these questions, because it's really beneficial. It's incredibly advantageous, and it's really coincidental that it happens right at the time that this counteroffensive seems to happen in these different areas.
Opportunity and struck hard. In the Alexandriivka sector, Ukraine struck to the southeast, forcing Russia's forces out of the settlements of Orestopil and Oleksiivka, which set the stage for advances toward Terova and Berezova, Euromaidan press reports. Another river also came into play here, this time the Yanchor River. Ukraine's forces pushed along that river, retaking the settlements of Yehorivka, Slahoda, Ribna, Vishneva, and Pershotrevneva. Right now, Euromaidan press adds, Ukraine seems to be...
we've been talking about that. Jeff says in the chat, Jeff Test Pilot 9076 says, Brian, the most amazing thing is at the same time that Elon cuts off Starlink to the Russians cut off their own Telegram. Yeah, we've been talking about that in the combination of the two, and obviously the rollout of the app Max, very similar to the Chinese version of that same basic thing, where they want to use that for all things basically, and they have all access and all control to your camera, your phone. They can turn it on anytime. They can listen anytime. They know what you're searching. They know who you're calling. They know what you're texting. And basically, you're going to have to use that for a social credit score like you do in China. I don't know if that's been kind of laid out like that. But, I mean, it's basically supposed to be used in the same way. But, I mean, we've talked about and we've shown, I don't even know how many clips on this channel that stem directly from Telegram, in which the Russians are either directly communicating, directly posting, or it's just Russian citizens posting, oil refinery explosions, drones flying overhead that give the Ukrainians great kind of information, right? Was that a successful drone attack? We didn't have a camera in the area, but here, this dumb Russian decided to put it on Telegram. So yes, it was. We knew what we attacked. We knew what we struck, and we can confirm it here because of the Telegram. I'm not saying that's a big reason as to why Russia's doing it, but that's kind of one aspect of how it will change. And again, we talked about the blue on blue, the friendly fire that has been going on the Russian lines, because they cannot communicate. They can't adequately, call themselves out as being, Russians and on the same side. So obviously when they get close, they're starting to shoot at each other because they don't know who's on what side. If you're Ukrainian, if you're Russian, they're not able to communicate. Obviously, the long range and mid range drones that were using Starlink to get to their coordinates, to get to their, their fucking whatever they were trying to strike can't be used anymore. But again, that's not to say that they don't have any drones. But yes, great point, Jeff, that we've been talking about here, as, at the same time that Starlink is down, the same time that the Russians are trying to roll out the Max app and to get everybody in Russia, which I believe it was something like 75 to 80 million Russians, if not more, like a substantial amount between the ages of, like, say 15 and 30 are using Telegram. So to totally remove that and to get them on this other app, is again, it's gonna stir up a lot of hate and a lot of dissent. You can be sure.
Pushing to liberate the settlement of Pravilna in what seems to be a clear attempt to push Russia's forces back across yet another river. Another of Ukraine's pushes took place north of Hulyapola, in the direction of the Haicha River we mentioned. Ukraine's forces actually managed to cross that river in the process of pushing Russia back. They retook Kozhevtseva and Ternivata as they did. A parallel push, focused on the same river, also saw Ukraine reclaim the settlements of Preluki and Olonokostyantinivka, leading to a push toward Varvarivka, which is already under partial Ukrainian control. And there's more. Ukraine also launched a brutal push into the zone occupied by Russia's 58th Combined Arms Army, Euromaidan press reports. It's unknown whether Ukraine managed to make any significant settlement gains in this push, though it did manage
I think
to
this is
force
going to
back
be
Russian
the more southern area that we were just talking about around Plevny, in that area down there.
units in the Stepnohirsk, Lukyanivska, and
Yeah.
Primorska regions, as well as outright stopping Russia's assaults flat along the Stepova-Pavlivka axis. And if
So
Russian offensives
even if you're not taking back territory, just stopping the Russians in their tracks and not allowing them to take any more territory, or even costing them more casualties, more wounded soldiers, while staying static, while staying in the same place, is a benefit, is a win, is a W, right? So even if they're not advancing as far as they may be in the Huliapol area or Ternivata, sector, even just stopping the Russians in their tracks is obviously a W, obviously going to cause problems as far as the leadership is concerned, because we know how desperate they are to fake and to make it look like they're gaining territory, to send people ahead with flags, to take a fucking picture so it can be geolocated. Next thing you know, those motherfuckers are dead. The Ukrainians have already pushed them out, and their commanders are like, hey, look it, we capture new fucking village. They dead now. We have nobody there, but we were there for 1 second, I promise.
have stopped, that may well mean there'll be more opportunities for Ukrainian counterattacks. After all, we said earlier that Russian units stopping its assaults created an opening for everything that we've seen over the past week. More openings are forming. More of the territory that Russia occupies is under threat. We said that this is an embarrassment.
The irony of that, right, Sam? The irony of Russians, because they can't and don't have access to Telegram, setting up fucking telephone wires. Is that what you're talking about? Like like it's fucking World War I? Like somebody's just got to get up on a post and snip the wire and the communications are down for the whole fucking front. Is that what we're talking about? Please tell me that's what we're talking about. Because again, the fact that you can't, Sam says, yes, let's go. Where are you, Sam? There you are. That's fucking hilarious. It reminds me of, does anybody, I don't expect anybody to answer yes to this, because I am just an absolute degenerate freak when it comes to World War II stuff and like British shows in general. But does anybody know what Foyle's War is? Has anybody seen the old British sitcom TV show? I think you can watch it on Acorn TV. If anybody knows what Acorn TV is, you're my kind of people. But yeah, does anybody remember Foyle's War? Because one of the first few episodes is a British gal, that has been wrapped up in the propaganda, and she's seen kind of climbing up the telephone pole, the telegraph pole, and getting up there and snipping the wire, and that's just kind of what I see now. Oh man! Well, anybody that's into any World War II stuff, you'd love Foyle's War, Foyles WAR, with I'm forgetting his name now. God damn it. Hold on. You'll know the name when I say it. Why can't I think of who the guy is? What's his name? Let me see here. Cast. Michael Kitchen. I should have known that one. Michael Kitchen. And then Honeysuckle Weeks was also in it. Anthony Howell, Ellie Haddington. Oh, great show. Loved it. Great show. World War II. He's a detective. World War II. His son's in the RAF. Follows him kind of solving different murders and thefts and crimes that would have taken place and happened during obviously World War II in London and throughout Southeast London and stuff, Southeast England and stuff like that. So again, anybody that's into World War II stuff, highly recommended. But yeah, so now I forget what the hell I was even talking about. Oh, this was what I was talking about. Yeah, sorry. My apologies. I just got so off track thinking about Foyle's War. But yeah, that would be hilarious if they're setting up actual telegraph wires.
Embarrassment for Russia earlier in the video. That was an understatement. This is a doomsday scenario for Russia's forces. Commanders who had proudly crowed to their superiors that territory had been taken Now I have to go back and try to
What was
explain.
that, Jeff? Hold on. Coup attempt on Xi on 18 January failed. Head of Chinese armed forces let it disappeared. I didn't. Let me see. I didn't hear that one. Let me see. Xi. Recent rumors of a coup against Chinese leader Xi. Let me throw this on the screen. In early 2026, are largely based off unverified speculative reports surrounding intense purges within the People's Liberation Army, while Xi has recently consolidated power by removing high-ranking generals, notably General Zhang Jia. These actions are generally seen as anti-corruption measures rather than evidence of a successful or imminent overthrow. Since when are the Chinese worried about cracking down on corruption? Right? I'd be a lot more apt to believe that he was trying to, again, consolidate power as opposed to, anti-corruption measures. You know what I mean? So, military purges reports in January 2026 highlighted the removal of senior military leaders, triggering intense speculation about internal friction. Unverified claims. Social media rumors claimed a gunfight or coup occurred in Beijing, but these claims are unverified and considered wild speculation, reflecting high opacity with the Chinese leadership. So that's kind of the latest on that as far as I can tell. But I do appreciate you throwing that in there, Jeff. Doesn't mean it's not true. Doesn't mean it just means it hasn't been confirmed yet. And again, probably not going to get that confirmation anyway, considering it's coming out of China. It's probably the most we'll know on that one. But I appreciate you throwing that in there, buddy.
And how all of that territory was lost. Soldiers who were sacrificed to the meat grinder of the war have been proven as worthless as Putin treats them. Ukraine has done in a week what it took Russia more than 2 months to do.
I love that. I love hearing that. Such a good fucking thing to hear. Ukraine has done in a week what it took Russia 2 months to do. And again, it's really quick saying 2 months, right? It's really easy to sit here in my nice fucking comfy computer chair and say 2 months, right? But when you think about what the Russians on the whole had to endure, had to go through, had to lose in those 2 months, had to sacrifice in those 2 months to gain the territory that it just lost in a week, like that's when it becomes substantial. That's when the morale starts to really hit the fucking floor, right? When you're looking at 20, 30, 40 of the people in your battalion or your fucking, your squad, right? Your group, whatever it may be, a substantial, portion of your group, if not all of them, have been killed, wounded, captured, heads blown off, blown up by a mine, whatever it may be. FPV drone took their fucking dome off, right? And that continuously happens. Like you can almost see how you could endure that. I mean, it's tough, but the human body and the human spirit, the human mind can get used to the most egregious shit. You'd be very surprised. But you could almost see how you could justify it or put it in the past if you were continuously gaining ground, like war and ground and territory being the name of the game. Like you could see how it could at least alleviate some of that pain. But again, you find yourself going fucking backwards and towards Moscow, right? Back towards the fucking homeland. And you had just lost 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 of your buddies gaining that territory that you just saw the Ukrainians take back in a week. Like that's when you start rethinking, what the fuck you're doing. If you haven't been rethinking it already, having to survive a Ukrainian winter on the front lines, right? That's when you really start thinking about, hey, maybe this gun should go in my mouth instead of, looking at down the range at the Ukrainians. You know what I mean? But all right, we're out of time for this evening. I really do appreciate you guys once again. I always think it's a great show, so I'm really biased in that regard. But, if you guys think it was a great show, throw it in the chat. Say it was a great show. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends and family about it. Again, we're trying to come down on the right side of history. We are pro-Ukrainian. We are anti-ICE. We are anti-Trump. We are fucking anti-everything that would stand along those lines as well. So without getting too deep into it, let's get into thanking some people. Oh, shiza. I'm dropping everything. Let's get into, Yes, that was a swear in German. Let me get into thanking some fine and fabulous people that reached out and contributed on Venmo. It's a fabulous way, probably the most direct, quickest, most effective and efficient way to get your contributions over to the channel. Again, YouTube doesn't take a cut. PayPal doesn't take a cut. Whatever the channels and the platforms don't get to take a cut of it. But anyway, however you guys can contribute is a great way and a great help to the show. So first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to Dame. Please take this. I'll just spend it on drugs, he says. You guys crack me up with your chats. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you, Dame. Thank you, Leslie, as well, for your kind contribution. Really, really do appreciate it. Thank you, Allison, for the 5. Thank you, Garrett, for the 10. Thank you, Nancy, for the 10 as well. You guys have been fantastic. Really just a pleasure to come on here to you guys every single show because of how supportive, how kind you've been. Thank you, Jenny Faye. Again, I hope you're well, my sister. Let me know if you need anything. And let me hop over here to everybody on YouTube so you guys can get your shout out and your thanks as well. Carol, thank you very much for everything that you do. Starting it off in the right way with 10 gifted memberships to the Boston Brian chat. Hopefully everybody that received one of those gifted memberships reached out and was saying thank you, as we all appreciate your kind contributions, as well as Bicycle Mike. Shout out to you, my brother. Thank you for the 2. Heroyam Slava, right back to you. Right back at you, Mark C. Appreciate you, my brother. You're redefining what patriotism is. Thank you, Brian. Well, thank you guys. I would say the same thing to you guys. Honestly, I think it's you guys, Mark and everybody else, Carol and Mike and all the fine and fabulous people that are watching here this evening that are actually redefining what patriotism means. Considering it, that term was hijacked and stolen along with multiple other terms and symbols by the right that we need to continuously take back. Day by day. But Mark, I appreciate you guys for what you do, not only in here, but I also recognize that you guys are all over the place in different chats, supporting other communities, supporting other accounts. So for everything that you guys do all over the internet, I really do appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Infinite Innovator 1970, for what you guys do. Appreciate you for watching. Appreciate you for being here. Appreciate you even more for becoming a new YouTube member. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Hoping you're finding a nice safe space into the chat. And hopefully you're finding yourself warm and welcomed in there. I appreciate you. Thank you, Just Saying, for the 1 gifted membership. Hopefully we're reaching out to Just Saying and giving her a nice big thank you for the 1 gifted. As always, appreciate you. Michael, what's up, big guy? Aussie, I. Oi. Sorry, said that wrong. My apologies. I think that's a criminal offense. I think I'm now just been banned from Australia. My apologies. Bit of a random question. He says, what's Slav Ukraine mean? And not that I mind, but there is a reason you do regular focus on Russia and Ukraine. So long live Ukraine, right? Slava just being long live. Ukraine obviously being Ukraine. Long live Ukraine. I appreciate it. Is there a reason you do regular focus on the Russia-Ukraine conflict? Bit of a random question. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. What's Slavic? We got that out of the way. Not that I mind, but is there a reason you do regular focus on Russia? Yeah, I'm very passionate. Obviously, my background, Michael, if you're not familiar, is heavily based in World War II history, heavily based on the rise of fascism in Italy, how it spread to and was taken over and kind of reworked by the Nazis, how they used the tactics of propaganda, obviously the battles and the people involved in World War II. So again, this being the biggest conflict since World War II in Europe, the largest war in Europe since World War II, it's something that we need to. I couldn't sleep at night if we didn't cover it, if we didn't talk about it, if we didn't do everything we possibly could to support and to, again, uplift the people of Ukraine, our NATO allies, our allies in general, to let them know that the United States is still what we say we are, and we still stand for what we say we stand for, and we're still going to stand up for people that we say we're going to stand up for. Again, when we have them sign treaties and missions to give up their nuclear weapons and basically in return for our assistance and our security guarantees, if Russia was ever to do exactly what they're doing now, then I would implore everybody to get out there and demand that we do exactly that and we live up to our promises. Like we haven't, but that's a lot of the reason. Obviously, the danger that Russia poses to Europe as a whole, The way that the world is connected now as far as trade and economies, obviously the huge effect it would have if Russia were to take over Ukraine and keep going into Europe, it would be detrimental to the United States in so many ways. So again, there's a lot of reasons we continue to talk about that. Hopefully that answers your question in a little bit of a sense. But thank you. I appreciate your contribution, my friend, as well. Let me see here. Again, hold on. I want to see. Take it back. Don't forget, Lady Gators. Did I miss something? I thought I saw something go by in the chat. Maybe I'm seeing things. No, all right, let's get on with it. I appreciate you. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Just Saying. Thank you, Michael, as well for your question. Who is next here? Jordan. We got Aussies in the chat all over the place. We're surrounded by Aussies. This would be Plan B invasion of Iran because Trump showed Plan A to random people. Right, that's right, too. Can't forget that, Jordan. Can't forget that. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you again. Are we hoping for failure because a U.S. victory in Iran could give Trump a polling boost? I'm torn. You know what? I don't know how, again, as somebody that represented himself as the no new wars president, the president of peace, the America first, I don't think it's going to have the effect, even if it goes well again, that he thinks it's going to have. Just like I don't think the Maduro capture has had the effect that he thought it would have on his polling numbers, on the MAGA base. Similar to that. And again, if we get into a prolonged war here, a weeks long, full fucking boom, boom, guns firing, dead U.S. servicemen and women type of war, I don't see how that bodes well for him. I really don't. I don't think people at this moment in time want to see U.S. boots on the ground or, U.S. planes getting fucking shot down out of the skies, U.S. prisoners of war. I mean, we got to think of what comes along with a full-scale kind of, full-fledged war that we're talking about here. Even if it's just, aircraft, even if it's just helicopters, fighter aircraft, even if it's just, missiles launched from, destroyers or aircraft carriers, whatever it may be, like they're still within harm's way. Like there's still, I'm sure, a little bit more substantial air defense systems that they're going to have to get around than there were in Caracas, than there were in Venezuela. So who knows? I just don't think in any right it's going to lead to a polling boost, really. But then again, the guy's polls are so fucking low. The only way he can go from here is up. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you, Jordan, as always. Thank you, SFL, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great night. Thank you, Rocks, for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Chicago's Finest, for the 5. Keep doing what you're doing. We need more people like you exposing the fraud, the orange idiot is. Thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing. It goes a long way in helping the channel. So you're doing your part and a lot more here at Chicago's Finest, and we commend you for it. Thank you so much, Wes. How much to get a number? Go Bruins. What? You crack me up, Wes. I never know when you're serious or kidding, and that's what I love about you. That is exactly what I love about you. I just never know what to expect when you're around, and you keep everybody on our toes. You really do. Appreciate you, Wes. Thank you, JD, as well, for the super sticker. Going right in the swear jar. Orb Vroma, what's going on? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute or two. I might be mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you for the 2. Orb tariff, $1 each. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. Thank you, Carol, again, for another 5. JD Christie still has the best photo. I agree. I got to say, I agree. Frankenstein over there. And then to round it out tonight, DPD 5844. Thank you for becoming a new YouTube member. I really do appreciate you guys. As always, we'll see you tomorrow for the Thursday episode of the Blunt Politics Podcast. As always, 2:00 here on the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. Tell your fucking friends. Tell your fucking family. Tell your coworkers. Seriously, though, share this out on Blue Sky, on Instagram. Tell some people about it. We really need a boost in the ratings, a boost in the views, really a boost in the contributions, but I don't want to put it all on you guys that have been here supporting for quite some time now. So if we could kind of share the wealth, so to speak, that would be fantastic. But hit that like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Just take a look. Hop out. You might think you're subscribed, but you may not be subscribed. I know a lot of people that watch aren't for some reason. Actually, the majority of people that watch aren't subscribed. So if you could really just go hit that subscribe button, it doesn't change much. Just lets YouTube know that you care about the show, that you like the show, that you're engaged with the show. And that says, hey, this guy who watches the show that you watch may also like this show. So let me send this show out to him or her, right? So that's all it takes. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, as always, for another edition, another episode of the Blunt Politics Podcast. I'm Boston Brian. This is the show for this evening. Hope you have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Again, none of the information on this closing song is correct, so pay no attention to it. The VIP Zoom is coming up on February 24th, so be looking out for that link to go out, please. If you signed up at the VIP level on Patreon, get you access to the VIP Zoom, but you can sign up at any level on Patreon, and it will get you access to any number of the monthly Zooms that we have during the month. So thank you, mods, as always. Thank you, Pops, as always. Thank you to the best chat on YouTube. Thank you to the best chat on the internet, on social media. The Bryantologist, the Church of Bryantology, priest signing out. I'm out of here. Again, that's a play on the cult of MAGA, in case you're just joining us. So, we're not really thinking like something serious. All right, I'm out of here. Peace out. Peace out. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you, brother. I really do appreciate everybody watching from so far away, too. Everybody, all of our friends and supporters in Canada, England, Australia. You guys are all over the place. New Zealand. I really do appreciate you. Have a good night, Jeff. Jeff, we're going to be really good friends until the U.S. plays Canada in the Olympics.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come.
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
Out to officially name the undisputed. When did this come out?
You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will water coming here is dead. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. God bless the United States.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
He says rectum damn near killed him.
I'm just dandy. I got a bowl of chocolate pudding in my underpants. I say mud, I said crud. Fall into some crud or something.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps. They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off, they're too bright, turn them off!
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including...
Go fuck yourself.
cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
I can just tell you that a con artist is about to take over the Republican Party and the conservative movement, and we have to put a stop to it.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it very well. I've become an expert on guns.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Yesterday's a hard word for me.
All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out.